Welcome to episode 3 of The Western Wilds. Who feels like giving a recap?
There was someone in a coffin, and they were more alive than we've been led to believe.
Rumours of Carter Garland's death have been greatly exaggerated.
So we cleared the room out, and the military took over. And he didn't know what had happened.
Yes. And I didn't know what had happened. Being cleric of death, that you figured that might give me some insight, but no.
Yeah, but we
mean,
couldn't. So
there are a lot of powers that work in a lot of mysterious ways in this world.
Yeah. So we were kind of let loose in the town for 24 hours ish. So we collected our chits. We had a little mosey on round, talked to some people, looked at the advanced tech that was also running the city, primarily the shield generators, which our attention caught the attention of, I forget his name now.
Sir Rory McLean.
There we go. I should remember that from Die Hard, but anyway. So McLean revealed that these were powered off energy crystals, but the recharging station was not within the city. It was at a nearby site. Was it 3 days or 20?
About 2 days travel.
About 2 days travel. So, and again, we were offered rewards in return for going over there, charging the crystals up, and then bringing them back. It wasn't It wasn't on the front lines, but it's still going through the desert, which can be dangerous. I think we opted to travel during the day because most of us can't see at night. It was reasonably uneventful, if I recall correctly.
We found a vehicle animal.
I believe you found an ant who you called Kevin.
Yes. Yeah, who befriended Kevin? There we go.
Yeah, once he got the foot off him, he was no longer agreeable.
Yes, that was it. Yeah,
He's just a bit scared, dearie. That's all.
yeah, because it belonged, from what we could ascertain, a postman, or a delivery
Courier,
courier of some description.
Kevin Costner.
I've just got that. I just got that.
That was the joke last time, dearie.
Yeah.
Remember?
She was distracted by tech.
Yes. I probably got it quite late in the last session as well, if I recall correctly. Anyway, but there were no further clues as to what happened.
I believe you.
We obtained the mail.
You ascertained that. Yeah, so Augustine got a bunch of personal correspondence that he's been sort of going through, and you knew that the leg had been either torn or it wasn't like a sharp cut like a magic blade or a razor. This was like a tear or a bite or like something strong had done it.
And very importantly, there wasn't an invisible body.
Yes.
Next to the
Yes. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
It's like a bit of Tom and Jerry where Jerry falls in invisible ink and then looks at his bottom half and it's gone. And he's like, and then jumps in the. It's a wonderful bit of animation where he jumps in the ink and the camera like fully tracks for the rest of the episode. Nothing in the middle as he's running. It's good. It's good. Yeah. But it's barely racist, which is good for Tom and Jerry.
Oh dear. Anyways, we reached the site.
You did.
We were able to unlock it and open it. We had to tie the mounts up outside. We got in, we started to play with the computer systems, bring the system online, at which point I believe it was suggested to our aging friend that he should close the doors, which freaked Misty out, and she bolted for the exit. Well, she screamed for an emergency override to open, which I think set off an alarm of some description somewhere. but she's
Yeah,
currently
full like
Warning
like
klaxons.
like a siren and like vroom, vroom, a red light pulsing on the ceiling. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, but presumably because that's what an emergency override does. It warns everyone that there's an emergency going on.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I believe that the other important note was because you cast
Yes.
command stop, which
Yeah.
I need to make a saving roll for, which will
You
be
do.
very interesting. But obviously, unbeknownst to Misty, but for those listening back, it also registered on the system that there was a new user logged in.
You saw that
I
because
saw
you,
that.
yeah.
So,
Did at any point we notice a user for Misty?
No.
It's only the spellcasters trigger.
So a not unreasonable inference, if you'll excuse the grammatical backflippery, is that the people who have cast spells are the ones who have shown up thus far.
Because Will was registered as user 000.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to activate you a new...
Which is a bad bit of UI design, because you wouldn't do that. You would do C01 even if in the array it was 00, because most people would
which
go
one
01.
zooming out a little bit?
Ooh.
And that's the last user created was user 128, and they just tick back.
That's true.
Misty's huge.
I'm trying to. There we go. Okay.
So I don't know if that's showing you Misty's point of view there, but it does extend a bit further up. Yeah.
Oh, don't do anything. Map's about to move.
It's this way.
Mike, I feel like you got
I've
you
got
got
a
the
saving.
lion's share of that. I'd say take your point of session inspiration.
thank you very much.
This is approximately where I expected you guys would be. So yeah, like
Cool.
Misty's down there, sort of out the door. Will had to grab. Lily went to spellcast, and Augustine is back there in the room.
So I believe I have to make a saving throw.
Yeah, so
What?
when she casts command, it's like in Dune where the Shadow Mates go, or not the Shadow Mates, the Bene Gesserits go do the voice and it goes and reverberates out.
That's a good.
That's
Very
good.
good.
Yeah.
I'll actually see.
What saving throw is it? Out of curiosity,
It's a wisdom saving throw.
it is a wisdom saving
DC
throw.
14.
Are you great at wisdom? You strike me as very wise.
So that is a 19 on the dice. So that would be 21
You are
in total.
unaffected.
Yeah.
So
Misty like bolts out of the room, like true, like real, like clammy panic. Showing. You are sort of going up like basically what is like an escalator. Like a true like London Underground length escalator that is off. So you are like tearing up there. So it'll take a couple of rounds to get out. But you guys see Misty tears off.
If Misty doesn't stop, Lily will chase after.
Sure. I won't move you on the map for now, but because I've only done this bit of the actual place. But so what's going through Misty's head right now?
Sheer panic.
Just that, like-
the lizard brain has kicked in.
Full limbic system in charge, no conscious thought.
Yeah, there's nothing sensible going through her mind. She's not going to run off into the desert. For those following her, she's getting outside.
But we don't know that. We're just following.
Yeah.
You're just running bolt straight out, and so we're just following after you.
Yeah.
It's going to take you
That's-
sort of at full sprint. It'll take you maybe 3 rounds to get. So it's something like 20 seconds to actually get out because that's like 60 feet up.
Yeah.
Am I the only one chasing her, or is
So,
that's the curious?
so certainly you two see Lily like take the initiative, as it were, without rolling initiative, and bolt off after this fleeing child. Yeah.
Will is torn with indecision for a moment. Will stays
Okay.
for a bit. He will take a turn
Yeah.
in the room to make sure that doing this hasn't set off anything horribly wrong.
Okay. Roll your choice of Arcana, Perception, or Investigation. They all get you different things.
Arcana, Perception, or Investigation.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with Investigation because that's the highest bonus.
Go for it.
Ooh, that is a grand total of 18.
Okay, so you're not seeing like this isn't like laser cannons and Resident Evil movie traps coming out the walls. Like this is a safety feature. Like you you're not like super familiar with labs. You've spent time in like something that could be construed as one, but this is not like a defense system has gone online. This is like when you get a chemical spill and you have to go in the chemical shower, that kind of alert is going off. This is a full safety of the personnel within the building kind of alert. You can
But
see.
I'm not just looking for the defence systems activating. I'm also looking for if this sudden thing has caused anything to come loose somewhere, and the whole thing isn't about to come collapsing down on our heads.
No,
if I need to take another turn to do this,
I would say from your initial, because 18's a pretty good roll, and it looks like this place is remarkably intact, like compared to like some of the other remarkable subsites you've been in, like the one that you were in the prologue, that had like cracks in the ceiling. This looks not only to be in good repair, but you can see there are like sandbags around and things, and like this place has been shored up by the Fort Morgan contingent to ensure its continued like usefulness and survival. Augustine, what are you doing?
So I turned to William, and if you're not panicking in any way,
I'm looking around.
as the person who knows Miz the most, I was like, if you're not chasing after it, I'm
Oh
just
no,
gonna-
I'm very tense, and I am looking like I'm about to run after her. I'm just doing a quick quick check to make sure that nothing horrible is going to happen to us. And it's about next turn I will be bolting. My physicality is someone about to run.
Okay. Is there cause for concern?
Everything in here seems fine. Mayor's might. This is not something I expected, so I want to make sure that she's okay.
Gotcha. I'm staying put.
Noted.
I will keep an eye on the monitor that I noticed in the last session, just in case. That's the thing that's flashed up and has caught my attention. So I'm gonna
Actually, that
keep
one,
my eye on that.
it does after a few seconds, like close the window, like the little hard light screen just disappears. Miz, at this point, you are like, my goodness.
Man.
Mercy me.
It's loose, so don't actually use it as a cane.
Miz, you are basically at this moment bursting out of. This is the moment where you clear the door.
Cool.
You feel like fresh air and breeze and hit your lungs, and there is sky overhead. And where you were, that raw, blind panic had gripped you, and your hands had gone numb and sweaty, and your vision had narrowed. Begins to like that kind of the kind of relief you get when immediate traumatic stimulus has been removed, but your body is still very much having that physiognomic reaction. Lily, you clear the door about 5 or 6 seconds later. Have you stopped at the entrance?
So once she's actually clear of the doors, she'll then sort of she'll probably drop to her knees just to try and catch her breath, because she's just
legs to jelly.
Yes, she's hyperventilating, like in that in that way that they're kind of like gasping for breath because they're breathing way too quickly.
Right.
So,
The second round,
Yeah.
I would have cast Expeditious Retreat and followed.
Noted. Okay.
So I don't know if that means that I get there at the same time as.
I think you still be a little bit behind, but because we're not in like full combat rounds yet, it's still like kind of a little bit narrative.
But yeah, I'm.
Yeah, you won't be too far behind.
So, like, I'll come out and see Miz on the ground. Go, what was all that about, dearie?
no.
Okay, calm down.
The door,
It's
no,
okay.
because forever, no.
But we're not going to be trapped
Yeah.
in there forever, dearie.
I
You didn't know that, did you?
no, the door's just closed.
She sits down next to you. So, do you have these attacks on often then?
No.
So you're this is the first time you've ever just panicked. I'm an old soldier, dearie. I've seen soldiers panic before for all kinds of reasons.
Yeah. Look, I haven't been out to the ruins in a long time.
But you were fine until the
The-
door shut.
Yeah. I thought they were closing. I thought we'd be trapped.
You're scared of being trapped? That implies you've been trapped before, dearie.
Yes. Long time ago. Long time ago. She's subconsciously like stroking her little robot pal at the moment. That's
The skull.
no. The skull's still back on the.
Shit. Oh, yeah.
The interface.
Yeah, she's got like a little robot dragon that can't actually move at the moment.
Okay. It's
but yeah,
dearie, everyone panics. Everyone has things they're afraid of.
Yeah, no. Fine in the ruins. Just didn't expect the doors to close.
Would you be alright if you knew they were going to close, dearie?
I don't know. I didn't think I was going to run away. This is all very new.
So, well, dearie, that's fine. Would you like a cookie?
Yeah.
Give her a cookie. Here you
Yeah.
go, dearie.
We fucking stand a grandma here. Inspiration if you don't already have it.
Yeah. She'll kind of take it into trembling hands, like.
Okay, dearie.
Yeah.
Just take a moment.
Oh.
I don't have any milk. No, it doesn't keep well. Oh, there's your friend.
So actually, I'm going to roll stealth
Yeah.
Okay.
at disadvantage.
No worries. Yeah. You.
Okay, that was a total of 2. So
So like, not only is Will like powering up with like a fortitude that kind of his frame belies, it's like a solid sound. Like it's not like it's not like someone running in plate armor, but it's like the
Like
sound
somebody
like
jumping
like
up
an
the stairs.
American football player makes as they run up an escalator. Kind of.
Yeah, so
also
he's-
there is steam coming out from under my collar and my both my wrists, and my skin is kind of pinky and shiny. Basically, gear tooth.
Yeah.
Yes, and also moving. Basically, at double the speed that I should be able to.
Yeah.
It just appeared. Oh, good, you're okay.
Yeah, she's fine. She's having a cookie. She'll be fine.
And as he sighs, steam comes out of his mouth, and then the steam, and then his skin goes back to normal, and the steam stops billowing from his.
I'm honestly more concerned about you at this moment. You've got a bit of discharge.
As about a minute has gone by since you screamed emergency override, like the siren shut off and the red pulsing lights turn back to that sort of soft white, like dusty glow. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. She's starting to catch her breath at this stage, nibbling the cookie.
Yeah. She'll be fine. We'll just sit here. If you want to go back in, I'll sit out here with her.
Okay. Yes, we'll try to finish up as quickly as possible, so you don't have to spend too much time down there.
Oh,
No, we're going to go back in.
You can take your time.
just don't shut the door, dearie. All right? Can we do that? Can we leave the door open?
I'm sure we can.
Do you want me to tell you privately or?
Yes.
Okay.
Is he reading more letters again?
Oh, this one's saucy.
I think I know what you're looking at. Will then turn around and hobble back in using his cane.
Just take it. Eat your cookie. You'll feel better in a minute. It really helps. Sorry. So you've never had anything like this before?
No.
Been in ruins all the time and things of that nature?
I've been in ruins before, but not many. Not since I was little.
Since you're little, dear.
Mm.
Was it? Well, that's okay. You don't have to tell me nothing. That's okay. We're all full of secrets, though. I think we seem to be, at least. You and your friend, especially. Although I suspect the businessman
Notably, there's nothing of the latter kind, but I am texting you about the former.
seems to have a few of his own.
Yeah. I didn't know that he was a walking kettle.
That was very unusual, dear. I do admit that. That was very strange. His hand is quite unusual as well, I noticed.
He won't let me play with it, though.
I can't imagine why.
No.
Would that investigation roll also let me know that the translation robot of Mrs. is still in the room with me?
Yeah, I don't think you would have taken it with you. So I think
If
Once
you
you
are,
said it
I've-
was-
Oh, yeah,
it's literally.
I
on
would
the-
say that was a good enough roll. Yeah.
I will try and talk to the computer, and I want you to imagine Star Trek film when Scotty talks into the mouse, that sort of bumbling. I have no idea how the computer works. I'm just going to try and talk to it.
Inheritor.
Hello?
State request. This is all being relayed through the
absolutely.
skull.
Yeah. What is your purpose?
Okay. It's a good question. I'm trying to have how this particular intelligence would answer that question. A Martel Site 9 subsidiary power distribution.
Where does the power come from?
I think it would pop up like a little schematic in little hard light spinning thing of roll. I'm going to say just roll raw intelligence because this would be tailor made for the technology skill. If anyone picks it up, yeah.
6.
It looks like maybe a drill or something. It's got that turning kind of spiraling, but you it just shows you some blueprints that you have kind of very little way of explaining. Yeah.
What does this mean?
Unknown query.
Where is it located?
Classified from this network.
Ooh.
You get the sense from that this doesn't know. Not that it can't tell you. It can't tell you because it doesn't know.
Right.
If I rolled a 19 on perception and I'm heading back,
If one were to have rolled an idea of perception, yes.
sorry for rolling without permission, but
It's chill.
I thought I'd get it out of the way.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
Well,
I've lost
roll in
all that.
progress.
I've lost all that time explaining that I already rolled.
Yeah. Please. Yeah.
How much of this would I hear on my way back? Because we're getting up there and just checking, make sure she was okay, and then just then turning around and coming back.
I think you would get the tail end of that, like the last couple of sentences. Yeah. 19's pretty good, and you were being quiet, but you weren't being secretive. So,
Yeah.
You get unknown query and what this you hear what does this mean, and then unknown query and that bit.
Might I be of assistance?
I'd just like to know more about this thing.
Okay, so let me, and then I just go up to one of the displays and I start doing the interface thing again, using the keypad or whatever.
Yeah.
And I try to bring up a map
Yeah.
of its network
Okay. So
or anything like that.
roll again. Just roll in. That's
Roll int.
While they're doing that,
yeah.
I want to see if that alarm from earlier has attracted anything in the desert. Just have a look
Perception,
around.
please.
Yeah, that's going to be my next.
Yeah, I think it's. I think it was late afternoon by the time you got to the place. So yeah, the sun is getting low on the horizon, but it's lots of bright orange lights you can see from miles. What was the result?
23.
23. Oof. You think that because all the sirens and the light were coming from deep underground at an angle, it looks like it is pretty contained.
Yeah.
And you are like up on a bluff and then down into the bluff, so like you can't see anything that has been attracted thus far.
Okay, I got a 14, but could I ask for help from you know what? Because this is aligning with that's goals.
Sure. I say you go through and you feel you start doing it and you feel just disapproval and your hands start moving of their own accord and manipulating the machine.
Oh, not this again.
Yeah, he's full like 90s hacker movie kind of like, but
I feel my toes flexing, itching to get up there as well.
and it basically it spits out a message that says like incomplete registry or like files not found kind of thing. Yeah.
Should we head back down?
Yes.
You'll be okay then.
Yeah.
Was that roll for any information about any other sites?
Yeah. I mean
sites
so,
or sub-sites?
you have been made aware that there was secure lack of communication between sites for a reason, and you don't know what the reason.
I was hoping to find a clue about this area's parent site, maybe.
Sure. You know it's called Site 9, and that's you start Site 9, and its role was power distribution, and that's what you get.
Would I get the image that Gust over there got? And would I recognise it?
I think unless you've dismissed that image, Augustine, it will still be sort of hovering in midair.
Sorry, say again?
The image of like this drill.
Like I wouldn't know how to dismiss it.
There you go. Yeah, so that's hanging midair. I don't know how much of the internal structure you would have seen. You can see this basically blueprint schematic, like 3D schematic hanging in midair. You know how to dismiss things. It's basically just like a fucking
Minority Report style.
Yeah. Oh, I love a Minority Report.
Or Iron Man style, just whoop to zoom.
Why not? Sure. But yeah, like I don't know how much of the internal structure you would know. So I'd say roll. God, what even would that be? What's architecture?
Another raw int.
Yeah. Roll kinesthesiology for me.
I mean, surely this might be another technology thing, maybe.
Yeah.
12.
It could be. This doesn't seem like this shows no indication that is in the environment, should we say, that you were used to it being. But it looks, that could be that bit. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you're not sure.
Okay.
I'd say at this point, if you guys are heading back in, you've arrived back down, you can see there's like a big schematic hanging in midair that is, faintly glowing with this slightly hard light.
And you'll probably hear me saying to Augustine, I'm sorry, I thought I could help. Trying to find other locations, it's proving to be a bit tricky.
Can I roll to see if it's some kind of geothermal plant?
Roll Arcana. Or Nature, your choice.
That is a nat 20. It would be Arcana, I guess.
Okay.
If I'm trying to understand.
Geothermal is a good guess. You have, you have had lectures on that kind of power generation. It looks similar but distinct. So as you know, geothermal power is where you lay pipes down into the earth, the water goes down, comes back up, it heats a turbine, as it cools down, that can be then used. Some of the colleges back in Ulster are heated by those because they've got little localized. There is a place called the Dragon Brand back in Ulster, which is basically a gold dragon has taken up residence and a volcano has started to come up from underneath. And then everyone who lives nearby gets free hot water.
Nice.
And they love him for that, and he hates people, and it annoys him very much how much people like him.
I love dragons.
Yeah. He is called the Old Man. Occasionally he'll wake up every sort of 7 years or so and go and grab a whale out of the water, really grumpily, as people cheer him on from down below.
If Kolstag became a dragon.
Yeah. Just imagine, like, every time you go to the fridge, thousands of ants applaud. It would get old. Yeah, this is not geothermal. There is no evidence that these are pipes going down that have to pump water down. On Nat 20, you would guess this is something more to do with, like, ley line energy, about how tectonics and magic interact. So there is a lot of the DNA of, like, geothermal stuff, but this is ancient and using a much more efficient energy source than just thermal power.
Cool.
Do you say any of this out loud?
So yeah, I'll glance at it and go, it's not geothermal. Ley lines?
Ley lines.
Pulling it from that?
Could I try and bring up a map of ley lines?
That, again, like, from this side, that's still going to be classified.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we know that we suspect there is a, out of character, we suspect there is a site somewhere to do with ley lines. So if we can find a map of ley lines.
Have we started charging one of the crystals?
Yes, I believe we.
I believe you were
I
about
asked to close the door before we
You were
started.
about
Yes.
to when
Okay.
the
So, before... Okay, yeah. Well, the charging cycle's going to take quite a while. One moment, and she will... Because did the door close at the bottom of the stairs?
There is a door at the bottom which, like, gets you just into the room, and there's also the, like, blast door at the top, which is a lot more. I mean, this is like a Star Trek.
Yeah.
At the top, it's like a.
Cool. She'll step the other side. So if the lab's here, she'll step that side of the internal door, and she'll shout across to her little skull, and she'll say, Grandian, close doors 5 seconds, then reopen.
Affirmative.
Lily's standing next to her.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah, it does that. That's
Cool.
something this control icon can do in this particular facility. Yeah, that's easy as, yeah.
Okay.
You right?
Now that I know we can open the doors, yes. I just thought they'd closed on their own.
So a lack of communication by your partner over there, that's what caused the problem then.
She will shoot you a very dark looking look.
I am very sorry. I did not appreciate that would happen. I was asked if we could close the doors, and I did it. I should have learned to communicate better.
Out of character, Lincoln does that all the time. He will do things without communicating he's going to do them, and oh my god, it is frustrating. So,
Okay.
get it.
I mean, that's what I do. I would do things without communicating I was going to do.
Is that? Can you see all of the stuff in? The
No,
room?
we've got.
So I will now step inside now.
Yeah, there you go. You should be able to see that now.
You have. Apparently, you're the only one with dark vision.
Maybe, yeah. I might have just also set it up wrong or put light sources in the wrong place. This is the first, like, Foundry map I've put into Dungeon Drop map into Foundry. So yeah, now that you can see it better, yeah, they've got these two banks of computers on either side. They look like to have, like, they are built and constructed differently, which you might infer they have slightly different functions, but you're not sure. There are also, like, clearly stuff that's been left here by the Morganites, like the there's like sandbag little bunker things either side of the door in case they needed to defend this place at a pinch. There's also there's a barrel there full of fresh water. There's a barrel full of like dry hardtack and jerky, like proper trail rations. And there's also a little pile of sleeping mats. Yeah. You can see over above. There's like a lantern that is it's lit on the map, but it's not actually lit. But you can see it's designed to be. You can light it up and sort of have a little bit of light down here. The air down here isn't stale. You think that there is... Actually, if you're here for longer than sort of 10 minutes, you occasionally hear a little sort of like a fan, like pumping fresh air into here. Or possibly just creating fresh air. You're not sure because it does seem like it is sealed to the external environment. And yeah, you can see this circular sort of platform in the middle and this sort of coruscating helix of light. So I believe you had the briefcase, the lead-lined briefcase.
Yep.
Is that right?
Is the only one strong enough
Cool.
to lift it.
15 strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what would you like to do?
Does this place have access to historical records, perhaps?
Yeah, no.
Ask.
Grandian, historical archive status.
Partial registry corruption.
What do you want to know?
Well, when we were coming in, dearie, there was a strange phrase about the gods, about not worshipping anything. I was kind of hoping to know something about that specifically, dear. Origin of that phrase might be useful.
Yeah, what was the phrase?
We will not worship.
Yeah. Origin phrase, we will not worship.
Project Immortal mission statement. Non-cultivemus, we will not worship.
Are you able to expand?
You can see the machine sort of, it does look like a couple of stutters, this machine is tens of thousands of years old.
Yeah.
So it's not like working at 100% capacity.
No.
You sense also, like, now you're getting a better look of it and you've spent time, like, that big coruscating, like, pillar of radiance probably isn't supposed to look like that. It's just that that's what the Morganite's taken advantage of. Like, there are bits of other artificer tech that has been, like, put in to stabilize this energy flow.
Right.
But you see, it says, essentially what it shows you is, and this, like, rectangular screen appears, and it starts playing like a really badly corrupted video, which is you're getting like most of, you know, if you're like really badly compressed dark video where you just got whole blocks in the background are just static, basically that of someone speaking in a language that you have heard bits of throughout, like the end, and the skull begins to translate, and you can see basically like a company presentation kind of thing of like mission statement, and you're getting isolated words coming through the translation skull, and you get certain phrases like the gods' war and the survival is paramount, and various projects, and yeah, it's like you're getting bits and pieces, and the video lasts maybe sort of a minute and a half, and ends with that symbol that you've seen on all the walls and stuff that are carved in, just sort of like in 3D render spinning around on its own central axis.
Cool. Environmental control status or environmental system status.
I believe I know what you mean, but what it's going to pull up, assuming that it thinks the same I am, is basically like climate control for the room.
Yes. Is there anything on there that is showing that it's pumping in oxygen?
Roll nature.
Cool. That's 14. Hold on. Skills. 18.
Okay. You are when you pull up like the environmental panel, basically.
Yeah.
You can see various sort of levels that are sort of adjusting as you go up and down, and it that's not a good enough roll to trigger understanding what everything one of those does. But as you look at that over the course of a few minutes, you can see that one of the levels does sort of drop down, and then you hear the starting up again, and you see one of them just slightly spike up and stabilize up and onto the flat level where it's supposed to be.
Are there any values?
Yes, but they are in a numbering system with which you are not familiar.
Yeah. I'm just trying to work out if I can set an alarm if it drops.
Ooh, roll raw in. I love that.
Yeah.
Again, classic use of technology, but
That's an 8, and then my int's going to be 4, I think.
Is that 12?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah.
I think between you and Grandian, you can work out how to do that. That's not going to be something you can instinctively go like, oh, I'll just turn alarm on. Like if you're at one of these, for a good sort of 10-15 minutes sort of jiggery pokering around and trying to get through bits of like the software that's basically just collapsed in on itself, and like the software and hardware are kind of much more loosely defined and intermingled than we would be used to. So yeah, there are bits of this system that are just fucking missing through age. But yeah, you think you can set an alarm that will make an audible sound when
if oxygen drops too low,
Yeah.
or what I assume is oxygen. Okay. With that, then, Grandian close outer door, restrict external access.
Okay, yeah. If you
if
hear the
it-
door
yeah.
closed upstairs, that's what that door's for, so it'll do it.
You alright, dearie?
For now, yes.
Alright.
Plus the computer will alarm us if we're going to suffocate. So that's good.
Is that the Grandian that you speak of?
Yeah,
Who is Grandian?
the machine.
Oh. Just the machine, dearie. That explains some things.
They didn't give themselves a name, so I gave them one for them.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes he's in a grumpy mood, but he's feeling generous today. We've got the alarm set up. It's actually closed the door and locked it to outsiders. Hopefully. Sometimes translation can get a bit tricky. Hopefully it understands the word restrict.
So now all I have to do, dearie, is drop one of these things into the beam and just
in
we
theory.
wait for
Do you
a
want
day.
me to give it a go?
Sure, dearie. You stick your hand in the light beam.
Do you remember what you were told about the crystals?
No, the edges, not the brass bit.
Yeah. Good instincts. Yeah, so you pick up this long, thin, it looks so delicate, this fine, clear, such fragile looking crystal, but as you grip onto it with one flesh hand and one metal one and place it in, you can feel how tough and resilient this crystal is. And then it begins to like rotate end over end, and then in a sort of like, how atoms go around a nucleus, like that kind of processional like 3D helical turning over an end, and begins to wisdom save. Begins to just glow and pulse, and you can see actually now that the generalized light it like condenses down and begins to feed power in through the end. Have you ever seen images of like cellular spindles in chromosome duplication? No? Okay, hang on, give me a second.
Is that the one where they put all the vials in a machine that spins it round?
No, that's a centrifuge. I'm talking about like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
High school biology. But yeah, so you can see like the points and all these threads of light are leading in, like myriad, and then into this tiny, tight, compacted thing, and basically like spooling up the energy and feeding it into the central crystal, and it begins to glow from within.
Watching that will kill about 2 minutes. What else are we going to do while we're waiting for 24 hours?
24 hours, yeah.
Yeah. Well, was there anything else you wanted to know, Granny?
What did you roll, by the way?
Not well. 7.
Okay. You can feel your chest getting tight. You can feel your vision beginning to tunnel. You can feel.
Can I tell that?
Roll insight. I'd say it will be an easier check rather than with advantage.
22.
Yeah, she's not feeling well.
We can ask some more questions. Do you have a cookie?
Yeah. I get... I'm just trying to think back to the early days when I had panic attacks, and there wasn't always... Like, to begin with, you didn't know until it was too late.
Yeah.
So you've probably spotted the symptoms before she has.
Fucking
So,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So she'll nod along and then I guess she'll kind of instinctively just grab your hand at this stage and lead you to.
Oh, she's happy to do that.
Yeah.
Just a real life check-in. I know, so you and I know that we've had panic attack stuff. Is that a psychological thing for anyone else? Are we okay to discuss that?
Yeah.
So having someone there to ground you, and also, I think Ms is the kind of person, a bit like I am, where having something to think about is extremely helpful.
Yeah.
So you take her hand and sort of give her somewhere to ground, and and sort of try and distract her with some of the questions you're asking. So what kind of things?
She goes, well, dearie, I'm very interested in the people that built this place, because if somebody's saying we will not worship, there might be against the gods themselves, and as somebody who has a hit or miss relationship with some of them, I'd be kind of curious to see how well they did.
Grandian, status on the war.
Interesting question.
Ooh, that's a very good question. I think that's actually a question I have an answer for. As well. Or this thing would have an answer for.
Yeah.
Okay. War of Worship, status ongoing.
That's not true, but okay.
Unless we're the survivors.
Oh, I suppose that's true then, dearie. But it would mean that every history book in the world is a slight lie, then wouldn't it?
Wouldn't that be fun?
No. It would be very bad, dearie.
Can
Can I pipe in? It's like, who's winning the war?
Ooh, good question.
Ooh.
Everybody is losing.
Grandian,
It's very
Was-
nihilistic, that one.
was the purpose of the project not to win the war but to survive it?
A Martel protocol functions. Number 1, classified. Number 2, classified. Number 3, ensure survival of human race.
Interesting. Curious. Of human race as well, dearie. Doesn't imply any of the other ones, just...
Yeah.
Roll nature or religion, anyone who wants to.
Out of character, other than whatever technical is going on in William, are we all human?
Are you asking me or the machine?
Perception. Out of character.
I appear human.
Appear human, appear human, appear human.
Okay.
Appear human with
We're
a few
some robots.
bonus
Technology! That's
Yeah,
still
some
human,
bonus
right?
bits, yeah.
Yeah, up here, Hugh, I just got prosthetic.
Human.
We can debate on how much technology requires you to not be human at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different
19.
philosophical debate.
So,
20.
okay, you two both know this. There are quite a number of sentient races in the world. There's the runner. You met one of those last week. You asked him for his secretions. There's the
I'm the only one who did.
the only one who has not yet. Yeah. The Yormung, as a Yormung, who are like ice worms, who all their language is like sign language communication. There's the Coyotl for sure. You are aware that a number of those races, certainly the runner and the Yormung, you know how it's like fact turns to opinion, turns to history, turns to legend, turns to myth.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in the bottom end of that scale, you are aware that the Rana and Yormung were both created, I'm fine thanks, after the War of Worship. Those two species are less than 20,000 years old.
Okay.
That is a known fact from history books, but the history is now so old that it's also become
So we, like, our thing, cosmology, is like humans first, everything else.
Demons existed before.
Yeah.
Angels existed before.
Yep.
Dragons existed before for sure, and they're a sentient race.
Okay.
There are younger races and there are older races.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is very much like a human is this is a human-centric thing. For some reason.
This is referring to human in like the inclusive third person of like,
Right.
this is what this was for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
If anyone does want to take any kind of short or long rest, by the way, you can see all like the blankets and bedrolls and are set up. They look like they are put here for the purpose. They're like public use ones. You can also see there is a little like clipboard size, like A4, like it looks like some kind of slate, which has been written on with chalk, and basically just messages left by other soldiers for whichever soldiers are coming, like Barnsey is a wanker and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Grandy, how long until nightly reset?
Allow me to consult my time document. Until nightly reset. Okay, yeah. It would say... Oh god, what time is it now? It's about 5 o'clock now. 7 Atam.
That's a very strange way of asking when the sun's going down, dear.
No, the last site I was at, well, the one that didn't cave in, and she'll glance towards.
Sure, you want to be with him? I mean, it doesn't seem like things have gone well for you.
I don't think he caused it. And she shoots you another look.
I mean,
Will
because
back
you were
right.
there and he didn't cause it, it was just fucking falling apart. But,
Yeah.
Will gives you a blank look because he suspects that you're the one that caused it.
That's fair.
I believe she is the one that caused it.
I would agree.
Any long-term changes don't last. I'm curious to see the extent of that compared to the last one. Grandian, create new entry, saved number 1, and assign that the value. No, sorry, scratch that. Grandian, create new entry, saved number, and the value for that, can that be 8?
What are you trying to achieve here?
I'm trying to see if, like the other site, upon the reset, those saved numbers will then be wiped.
Just trying to create a dummy file.
Yeah.
You're
So-
creating a test document
Yes.
to see if it...
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
See if rebooting the... Yeah.
Yes.
Got you.
Sorry.
No, that's A-okay, yeah. Yeah, you ask it to do that. You basically create create a data entry.
Yeah.
Could I get you to roll like perception, considering you already got like form for spying on these screens?
14.
14. Yeah, you see a little file pops up, and then saving icon basically goes as a like loading bar, and then disappears off.
And nobody knows why it's a diskette anymore. It's just very strange.
Yeah. Like that's the thing, because like all the physical media in Immortal stuff is crystal based, so it probably looks like a little like diamond or something with the save icon. Yeah.
Grandian, before today, when was the last log on to this system?
1 Azem.
I can't remember how long that is. Is that about a month?
It's an hour.
1 day.
1 day.
Yeah, you put that together.
Day. What was the user number?
User error deleted. There's a user data deleted.
Someone was here before us. So I'll explain that. Was
You can roll insight with advantage, and us can roll insight.
I have my suspicions.
yeah.
15.
16.
I've got 16 plus. What is the main?
Dirty 20.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be like a fairly difficult check, but a 20 certainly clears
19.
it. Yeah, 19, yeah. I think, you might all have your suspicions, but if this thing, as Miz was talking about daily resets, this thing might think that the last log on was 1 day ago, because there haven't been any days for it for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it possible to stop the daily reset theory to make it so that it doesn't do that anymore, so we can get a nice log going?
Believe me, I tried.
Oh, very well, dear. Well, this last user, can you pull up any information about them?
It says it's all wiped.
But it knows about it. That's a very strange way of saying something's gone.
Yeah, unless it knows it by the hole that it left.
you suspect that's probably the that's the case.
For example, if someone logged in and changed something, it would record the change, but then if it was deleted by who,
So there'd just be a gap.
yes. So,
So
it's
could
able
we
to it's able to reconstruct it up to a point. It knows someone came in and changed it, but not who it was.
So could we use the hole in the same way that when you're making, you know, a mold for a candle, you can see the mold, you kind of figure out what the candle is by figuring out what the gap is.
That's with me knowing what I know compared to it, that's a remarkably good way of describing it. Yeah.
Are you able to describe the changes made before today?
I think it would record like. Yeah, actually. Video and audio file saved to external medium.
Is external medium still present?
It shows you. It comes up with like. Again, a 3D image in the air of what the... And it's basically like a tablet. Like a sort of yay big, like, stone tablet.
I know it's a long shot, but I assume I've not seen one of those before.
Roll intelligence.
Yeah, I was going to say. That's a 4 for a grand total of 8.
You've seen similar kind of things. I mean... It's that kind of like grainy, slatey material that like McLean's PSP kind of thing was made out to control the shields, and but yeah, like you, you see them. They are fairly ubiquitous. They are not like the full control skulls like Grandian, but they are like it's like using an iPad to control various things. Yeah,
Right.
The data that was transferred, does it still exist on this system?
all data is wiped at daily reset. Protocol 1.
Could ask what Protocol 2 is.
It was classified, wasn't it? I'll ask anyway. What is Protocol 2?
Classified.
But now we've worked out what Protocol 1 is, which we didn't know before.
Well,
That's not.
We've got
that
a
was
clue.
the mission statement.
Yeah, the mission
Purpose
statement,
1, 2,
yeah.
and 3. The protocol.
Oh.
The most important thing that this thing does, the thing it considers most important, is to wipe its own memory every day.
Does it know who instigated the protocol?
List all unclassified protocols.
Ooh.
Oh my god!
You zip bomb and a Marvel subsite.
Like, star.
Like.
Where classified equal false.
Never do that on a ZOS system. I had plans.
Yeah. It would, but it's going to be like safety protocols for power distribution, and like at one point it reads out like if emergency override, then turn on lights, open doors, say you never should have come here.
And it does this for hours, doesn't
No,
it?
it's fine. It's fine.
Is this
I will
like a
cancel.
Heart of Gold situation where like all power has been diverted to answer this one request?
Your market
The lights start dimming.
your market network goes off. That's a very bad thing.
You accidentally DDoSed this time.
You DDoS the planet.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay. Once it runs through the first like 10 unclassified ones, if there is nothing else of interest, I will cancel the.
They are remarkably mundane.
Okay.
Yeah, like you get like a translation of like oxygen maintenance protocol. Yeah.
What access level is required to view protocols?
Very good question.
It would it gives you various answers, for which I shall use like Greek alphabet, but it gives you it in human or precursor to what you want. So like alpha, beta, gamma, and then delta, epsilon, mu, Rho, Omega, etc. All the way down to, yeah,
What access level do we have?
Alpha.
Is that the highest or lowest?
Lowest.
Lowest.
Is there anyone that it knows about that has higher?
Grandian, what species are we?
I'm so glad you asked. Human error.
Error!
Human error. Human error.
It blanks?
Human error. Partial silicon-based life form.
That'd be
Unknown.
Deary?
Yes, I fell into a machine.
Grandian, is
But
that
it's-
true?
You can't tell which person it was. Like, you're looking at Ryan.
That's true. It doesn't have a face or eyes, so yeah, it just says
Yeah, that's
human
the-
error 3 times and then human error partial silicon-based life form.
Yeah,
That's-
but
when you
I've got a big metal hand. It's pretty obvious which one of us stands out.
You won't believe which of these party members is a partially silicon-based life form.
When it says...
Top 7 reasons.
Why is it saying error, dearie?
Perhaps we're a human. We are not what it classes as human. We're a subspecies of human.
Send a real quick text to none of you, don't worry.
What level of access does she have? And I point at Lillian because I know I saw the picture of that user entry being
Alpha
created.
clearance. In fact, when you asked what method do you have, it would have said no existing clearance.
Ah,
And then, yeah, sorry, that was DM retcon, yeah. It would have said about you and you, alpha level clearance, and then no existing clearance status.
What did I do to get...
when you made her stop or tried to make her stop.
Oh, I tried to make her stop, yes.
That weird voice.
Grandian, do you have
Grandmother's voice.
records for the species we call coyotl?
Unknown.
Does anyone have anything that is coyotl made or based?
Don't think we'll even have anything.
I create a hologram of a coyotl.
Ooh.
Ooh.
However, this coyotl is a little bit exaggerated. It looks snarling, angry.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's racist.
Racist caricature.
Can we,
You see, Will is trying not to look at the image that's in his hand.
Honestly, it's going to say class 1 hologram.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because of how it is being able to sense. It looks and does what it says, it's a hologram, yeah. This thing isn't precisely sentient. It's a very, very advanced and smart computer, but it's not sentient. It's not a perfectly sentient being. Yeah.
Can you ask it which parts of us are showing up as errors, dearie?
It will... You, as players, understand things differently to you guys as characters. You guys as characters standing there in this dark, oppressive room far beneath the earth that smells of metal and crystal and ozone. You don't understand what you're looking at when it shows you an absolutely shattered and partially complete DNA helix.
Right.
It just shows you that.
If that's the answer to the question, I don't...
You see it like a twisty broken ladder.
Twisty broken. I don't know what that
I
means.
speak computer. I don't know what that is. Grandian, are you in a bad mood?
Maybe we're broken or something.
I am incapable of emotional processing.
He's in a bad mood.
I'd like to ask the voice what this helix means.
This is no time to go on a game show.
Okay, that's perfectly good enough on the luck die. This is a primitive genetic structure consisting of adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine.
Is my translator broken?
This is in Ryan's head.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's gone a bit cross-eyed again, dear. Don't poke him, because I don't really cramped again.
Has he fully glazed over?
Yeah.
Can you ask him? Can you ask the thing what's wrong with him? Quickly.
Hold on. 17 on a stealth roll. Can I come up behind him and attempt?
What's your passive perception, Will?
Not 17.
11. You get a little moustache. You get like a curly one and another one in just about before Will like snaps around again, and you see like one eye like glowing red from the interior of the vitrea of the
I will as
the
quickly
people.
as I can hide the marker pen. You had dust on the back of your head.
Oh, thank. Actually, I'm going to roll insight.
What is my deception?
Can I roll perception to see whether the head turns before the glassy eye fades?
Oh, I like that. I have 15 on my
that's a
perception.
great.
Oh,
I would
thank
almost say
you.
medicine.
That is a 18.
I don't have an immediate answer for that. Does the head turn before the glassiness of the eye? I would say the head. Feel free to disagree with me here, though. I would say the head turns fractionally before the glassy eye. Like the glassy eye is Will not concentrating. The turning happens slightly independently of that. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I say this is like your also your kind of thing as well. So,
So,
Oh, thank you. I don't want to be covered in dust.
no. What were you asking, Granny?
I was going to ask if your skull thing knew what was wrong with your friend over there, dear.
Well, Bob the Skull is just a translator.
Well, ask the.
The Grandian. Okay, well, he's in a bad mood, he might not answer.
I can't answer for you.
But yeah.
He might answer. You never know. He might know. He seemed to know more about him than the rest of us.
Grandian, I suppose I don't even know how I'd get it to.
Just ask why does he keep going glassy eyed?
But it's more about how I identify a single person.
It seems to know.
We know the
User
numbers.
00.
Yeah.
She, ooh.
And you didn't know their user 00 as well.
No, because he logged on before that. Would I have noticed that? Because this is before the.
I think we all noticed
Because
user
this popped up
00.
on
That's
We
what I
all
noticed.
know-
You all
Yeah.
noticed, yeah, but only you noticed the correlation between the spellcasting and
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do know they're 00.
Okay. Grandian, is there anything medically wrong with user 00?
Oh.
ouch.
Lots of stuff.
Okay. Here is an interesting. Okay, here I'm going to do some of my thinking out loud and some of my thinking in my head. So this is not a medical AI. Such things exist. This is not one of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
This does have the ability to do limited scanning within its own volume, basically.
Okay. Yep.
Which you are currently within. It also is. And I'm actively spoiler passing my head as I go along.
Yeah.
I would say it is. Fuck. Okay. No. I
Unless you countermand the request, of course, because you might not want to know if you're about to die, for example.
Extreme senescence, some cardiac atrophy, missing nictitating membrane. And it lists the names of some other organs that you don't have. Yeah. And it also no, I tell you, it doesn't. It lists the fact that you have prosthetic organs, but those prosthetic organs are not kidneys or livers. They're not translated by the skull. they are said in the language as if the skull thinks you should know what they are.
Right. Proper nouns that should exist
Yeah.
but don't.
Yeah.
So we don't. Have
This
a-
skull doesn't have the capacity to translate for you because you don't have a word for it, so it just gives you the word.
But we can still infer that it's talking about organs.
So, and
Yeah.
does it say that it's missing or that they have prosthetic?
Prosthetic.
Does everybody in this room have those prosthetic organs?
Scanning. List of personnel with prosthetic organ name.
Yeah.
User 00.
Are you doing okay?
What a question!
That is a lot of missing bits, dearie. It's not just the hand, dearie, because if it just was the hand, it was listed the hand, maybe some fingers, perhaps a forearm, but that was a long list, dear.
Okay, I was in a small accident.
Small, dearie. The list is long as my arm.
The list is my arm.
It's not your whole arm, that.
Take off my my jacket, roll up my sleeve.
Yes.
Oh, actually,
Is your
no,
whole
undo
arm-
my shirt, and you see it goes all the way up to the shoulder.
Yeah, so the joining mark is
Can
like
you-
there around the ball joint, isn't it? Yeah.
Brandon,
Also,
can you connect to the prosthetic devices?
That's a great question. It is a great question, and I will tell you exactly what it says when I think of what it's specifically going to say.
I mean,
It will say one thing to you in your head, and to you it will say insufficient network access. And to you, it will
Pairing
say,
mode activated.
it will say, yeah,
Request
like
pairing?
it was it.
pairing.
Yeah,
request.
it will. No, your voice will say essentially,
Access has been denied to an external source.
yes, access denied to external. Pairing request denied, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in a very cold voice.
Wait a
I will
minute.
not
There is a
tolerate.
there is a
I will-
glowing red from the back of Will's eye.
User, I will
Please
not.
don't do that again.
I will not tolerate network intrusions.
That implies, dearie, that
Good.
his technology...
Neither will I.
That implies, dearie, that his technology is the same as this technology. Because if they can connect to each other, there's no other way that
Rich looks so happy. He looks so happy about that.
Bunch of computer scientists in a room messing with a computer. Yeah, we figured out.
Oh,
pretty
I'm
quickly.
fully
I'm
aware.
not in the base.
I am fully aware. I am
So do
fully
we
aware.
just shoot Gus in the
I,
head so you can
please.
continue?
I am fully aware. I, as a DM, am less smart and less good at computers than all of my players, and that's going to be a problem for me.
You can consult. Just outsource it to your players.
Grandian, the prosthetic organs possessed by user 00, do the other users in this room possess organic versions of the same organs?
There is no camera swivel, but imagine a camera swivel
Yeah.
invisibly. Over to you. User 01 appears to be critically injured. A number of missing organs.
It's been a while, dear.
Granny!
I'm fine, dearie. I'm an old lady, it happens, and I've been in a lot of wars.
It's a 6 on them. Oh, wait, no, hold on. I'm doing a medicine check. With an 8 on medicine, is Granny about to die?
Granny looks fucking hale and hearty and like iron.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm okay, dearie. I'm just a bit old. That's all. It's possible it thinks I have. Maybe the humans of its time had more organs than we did.
Hmm.
For instance, yourself, you're young and spry. Ask it about you.
Grandian, am I missing any organs?
registering user. Picture of Ms. Yeah.
When it says registering user, do we then get a similar user?
Yeah, it also
02?
scans you at the same time. You see your own face pop up as it begins to like more closely examine you. User 02 has also sustained critical damage, a number of missing organs. User 03 has sustained critical damage, a number of missing organs.
So I think, dearie, it's just a bit confused is all. Could we maybe change and establish a new baseline?
It won't do any good, it'll reset. Grandian, where can we seek medical attention?
I think it,
Oh!
that would get around a lot of security protocols, I'd imagine.
Oh! What a great question! What an excellent question! I am gonna say that basically a panel slides down in the wall. You know these things. You ate from them for years. And in the little sort of bioprinter thing, it starts printing a healer's kit.
Oh.
And so first aid can be obtained from, and then shows you basically, you know how emergency lights on corridors show you the way,
yes.
and it points down to the little hatch, and
That's convenient.
and it will say something like a message that you're familiar with, like basically bioprinting material running low. But yeah, it prints a healer's kit for anyone. It's a fucking weird precursor healer's kit, but it does exactly the same thing.
I imagine it's more efficient but has less of it, so it does more with less.
Precisely.
Or the same
Yeah.
with less.
It's essentially bandages covered in this sort of graphene kind of
I'm actually
forming
imagining a spray
material.
on bandage.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Can I? No, I'll give it to you to inspect because I'm also aware that I don't want it to try and repair organs that we don't have.
Should further medical attention be required? Scanning registry. Scanning database, and it will. Last communication with a travelable distance from the settlement of Novum.
Can you show us a map or?
See, that's a different question to asking for a map of ley lines. Yes. Screen, it turns sideways, and you can see topography,
Yep.
and it's sort of Volan, but it's also not. There's no sand dunes. This is not a desert continent that you're seeing in the map.
Is it quite lush and green?
You can't tell that from the level of relief there is.
Okay, yeah.
But you can tell this is not like a dust bowl like Volan is. Volan is full like Arizona, I guess, or
Yeah.
Nevada kind of. Yeah.
Interesting. And does it show us?
It shows you can see where you are, and it will show a ping about 150 miles to the south. I'll actually.
the world map.
I can get
If
the
you wouldn't
Volan
mind.
map up.
If I have got the scale right on my own map, then it'll be. That is the wrong map. Volan map is the right one. Yeah, it will show you somewhere God, that's not the ruler. That's the ruler. Probably not even that. Probably about there, 70 miles or something. I will just add in a little note there called. I don't fucking know.
Because that's within human territory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite near to Elysium. Well, relatively.
Interesting.
Is that going to work? Yeah. And then how do I edit this? There we go. Text. Size 25. Update right. Yeah. I can say it gives you a ping about there.
Okay.
Ooh. So we've got a lead on a newer model site. Or sub-site.
That we do.
A precursor location.
Some kind of precursor location is more technically accurate.
I can get these orchids that I'm missing apparently there. That'd be nice.
Novum status unknown.
The thought occurs: do I have extra organs that extra artificial organs that humans don't have?
Yeah, you have dark vision. You have extra glands in your eyes. You
I
have.
don't have dark vision.
Do you not? Oh, I thought you had dark vision. Okay. You've got extra filtering organs. You don't have an appendix anymore because that got damaged and didn't need to be replaced. You've got an extra kidney which doesn't filter sodium out the blood. It filters other things out the blood, and yeah, you've got a bunch of other organs. Yeah, straight up. You're a carnivore.
So
You're a meat carnivore inside. Yeah, you've got a bunch of basically partially synthetic metal organs which
wouldn't even be in a regular human.
which absolutely would not be in any of these guys. They don't. Yeah. But you would have had no way of knowing that until now, I believe. So
Yeah.
Grandin, are you in contact with any other sites?
Protocol 1 forbids contact with other subsites.
Interesting.
So Protocol 2 forbids contact with other subsites.
What is the reason for Protocol 2?
Classified.
Okay.
It's a good try.
Is the power source you showed us not another site?
Which one? Sorry.
The drill, ley line drill feature, thing that we thought was geothermal, but it's actually. Because I asked it where it was getting its power from, and it showed me that. Is that considered another site or considered?
Roll insight or arcana? Different information for both.
23 on insight.
Insight. You sense that's a good question. For the I'm not. That was a semicolon. I'm going on to a subordinate clause, which this is now, and this is another one. If it can't show you information about other sites, one might reasonably infer that what it's showing you was what this looks like under the ground.
Right.
There was like a bulbous room at the top which you appear to be in, and yeah, so that's not to say that other places couldn't look like this, but it is not showing you those. It is showing you this.
So
Yeah,
this
on
place-
23, that's a super good roll. Yeah.
So this place is pretty self-sufficient, and it can kind of sustain itself indefinitely. Then
Although it was running out of printing material.
How much power does charging this crystal consume?
It is going to give you a figure in something you can approximate to 1%, and it is less than basically, in your mind particularly, the phrase that comes to mind is it's dealt with by the interest on the account.
Mm-hmm.
I was quite pleased with that. I might go and nip and get a drink for 1 second.
Of
so
course.
Back shortly. Feel free to discuss amongst yourselves.
So yeah, I guess you know that I was in a small accident.
yeah, small.
Yeah.
What we all were, apparently.
Well, I knew you lost your arm, but it was like your arm and a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah. Basically, the impression that you get hearing this is that if you as a player had picked a different racial template, you would straight up have accessory eyes on the back of your retina that give you dark vision.
Yeah.
I just went with whichever racial template fit thematically for the idea that I had.
Completely fine. Yeah, So yeah, I know this session has just been you guys asking questions to a computer, but I hope that's
Yeah.
okay.
Must get the rich lore.
I mean, if
Sweet backstory.
I just need an excuse to take a small knife to a part of my body. I sound out of character.
Oh, right.
Oh.
I sound out of character. Will needs an excuse to have a small knife to part of his body so he can show off something else.
Yeah.
Brandon, are you able to show on the map the heaviest areas of God activity?
Ooh, I'm going to wish it back.
Can we also ask what does it classify as a god?
What is classified as a god? And again,
I'm going to wish it back. Yeah. Store these questions up so for the group.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
stop DDoSing.
Quantum.
I didn't say that in the old man voice. That was obviously out of character.
Quantum Monarchs
Or am I?
Materiata Morai Posset. Si Monarchs Materiata Morai Posset.
And name all enemy gods as well.
No.
Presumably all gods.
I mean, how many gods were there back then?
Just get on my best Kermit drinking tea impression.
Wasn't there? I remember reading the lore. There's something like 10,000 gods.
The Austerian Pantheon is known as the Pantheon of the 10,000. Yeah.
So we'll just
So the questions.
And is that just those who survived?
That was the original
right?
creator gods of this planet were the Pantheon of the 10,000. What's the question? Sorry.
So on the map,
Yeah.
on the map, list the areas of heaviest God activity.
Oh, fuck me. Like, it's a good question. I don't think it would have specific records.
I didn't know.
Could I get a history check from everybody? Advantage if you have advantage if you have travelled extensively in Volan.
No. 22 though.
22.
17.
Okay, so
19. Yeah.
Sub 10.
so you'll definitely get this. You guys might suspect. There is an area over in just between Ragbend and Weaver's Hollow, and it's called the Glass. And it is basically a huge sheet of glass which sits just underneath the sand dunes and extends down like hundreds of feet. You guys see a ping on the map, basically exactly where the glass is. You know that there are like sideshow attractions which are basically creatures that are trapped inside the glass.
I feel like a god would claim credit for that, and somebody like in the teachings that might have come up of this god specifically glassed this area, and maybe I could make a roll to see if I know that given my history.
Okay, this is an extremely high difficulty check for a particular reason. Roll history again. I'll say you can have advantage, but you are looking for like a... Yeah.
So 19 plus 3 is 22.
22 again.
Yeah.
With the 22, I'll tell you this and you can take whatever inference you like from it. Yeah, that's not... Like, gods are arrogant fucks.
Yeah.
Like, no one should like them. We should not worship. If this was like a benign miracle, yeah, someone would have taken credit for that. Gods fucking love being appreciated for things.
Even smoting something enough to glass an area.
That is the question. That's an impact crater.
Mm.
Yeah. The glass there has been fused in a 15-mile wide crater. Yeah. Which has subsisted through years of both sitting on the seafloor and above the earth as a and so it was a big hit basically. Yeah.
Some god did that. Different churches claim credit for it from time to time.
Okay, now that, with 22,
yeah.
you know that some people have, but you know there is no definitive one, and like
specific
you
one.
suspect that most people that do are talking bollocks.
Yeah.
Like the god of artisans, their church claims credit for it, and but yeah.
God of Artisans, is that?
That's the god of artifice you're thinking of.
Okay.
God of artisans would be more like like the muse of inspiration kind of deal, rather than the person you're thinking of.
Yeah.
There were other questions you asked, including, I believe, list all enemy gods.
Yeah.
Can we just say how many enemy gods are there before we ask for all of their names?
When it starts listing the names.
I love the questions you get. You guys are so curious about all the shit. The last party were terrified of immortal sites and refused to step foot in them. I'm liking this stage of the campaign.
This is why it's going to take double the amount of time.
So when it says list, okay, I'm going to come up with a real esoteric fucking reference here, so just fucking bear with me. Have you ever watched that series of Yu-Gi-Oh where they get sucked into a game or something? And they have to pick cards, but they basically get like a little digital readout of all the cards, and they have to like bink, 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 and it just scrolls past loads of symbols.
Yeah.
Basically that starts happening. It starts displaying like runes, like like holy symbols, basically.
Do I recognize some of them?
Roll religion, but the answer is probably.
Yeah.
But being able to see it for long enough to tell which one it is.
That's the
you go, I recognise that one, but it was gone before you could actually...
19.
You see Methodram, you see Arlos, you see Daithi, you see a fucking bunch of them. Yeah, like all of the... You see your former in the list. Yeah, it'd be like seeing, in the real, it'd be like seeing, like Yahweh and, written out, but in a list. But this is holy symbols. When you ask how many enemy gods are there, that is the list you get.
Wait, hang on. The enemy gods were listed as
10,000 gods.
all the 10,000 were.
Everyone had enemy status.
Yeah.
So
These were
compared-
not constructed by gods.
Define
No, I
Non-gods.
think these were. I think we do not worship.
Yeah.
All gods were listed as enemies.
Define
Yeah.
God.
That was the other question.
Yeah,
that
that
was
was the last
define God. That's a big question.
What requirements constitute being a god?
In their specific understanding, I don't know how to phrase this in character, but their specific understanding is one of the original pantheon of the 10,000. Those were that was the enemy.
So
Yeah.
there would be, so in terms of ones that would be in that list, there would be notable exceptions that aren't in that list that I would know about and be like, that's a god that's not on that list, that's not listed as an enemy because they
Are
will have
there?
ascended at some point. Like the dragons, for instance, the pair of dragons that
Oh,
ascended.
so the Antaran God Monarchs. Yeah, the Antaran God Monarchs, no way are they in that list.
Yeah.
Peter the Storyteller is not in that list.
Although he tries to.
He fucking tries.
He tries to suppress what happens.
Yeah, like neo-gods are not in there. Ones
Yeah.
that you know to have ascended during the last 10,000 years or so. Yeah, they're not in that list. Yeah. And also a lot of the things that don't... Oh, thank you. A lot of the things that are like hover on the boundary of the doctrine of reflected faith. Things that are, well, maybe gods, maybe not. What these creators of this like considered a god was one of the original 10,000, what you would know as the Austerian gods.
Right. I'm going to ask a question just because I'm curious in what they knew. What about the origin of the gods?
Classified.
But it knows.
It doesn't... It knows that it's classified.
Yes, which implies there's information it can't get to. This is I've been doing nothing but penetration testing.
Penetrate my story!
And all of the stuff is basically
no,
like
pineapple juice.
security. It's like security stuff is like never say you don't have something because you immediately go, it's there. I just can't get access to it.
That's a really good point, and I will have an answer for you in 30 or 40 seconds time.
How many gods that are not on the enemy god list exist currently?
Ooh.
Could you redefine that question for me as a DM? Like,
I am trying to work out whether it defines a being that has passed the reflective...
it does not know about any others.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any gods in its database that it does not
Totally.
class as an enemy.
Correct.
So that's why it's all gods and stuff.
Yeah. You get the feeling that if it did find out about other gods, they'd get very quickly appended to the bottom of that database. I believe someone also asked a question about how many gods like are existing. How many are currently?
Yeah.
It gives you a figure in the mid 3000s.
Oh, so that's been updated.
Yep.
Interesting.
What is the location of the nearest god?
I would love to give you an answer other than unknown. I would deeply love to give you another answer. There is... could you roll me religion, please?
I mean, I've thought of a way that I could give an answer.
Yeah?
Yeah,
16.
the big glass crater. If there was a god that was smote under that. Culture.
16. You are aware of a thing... what religion did Augustine grow up in, if any?
He didn't.
Didn't, okay. Would you have grown up in Ulster or the Trow of Old? Ulster. Okay, so you know the Covenant. The Covenant was basically an agreement signed in blood by every surviving god at the end of the War of Worship. About 3,500 of them.
Mm-hmm.
That said, we don't go there anymore. We accept that we fucked up and we're not going. So if a god... You all know this in slightly more couched and religious and like doctrinal terms, But the raw facts of it are, if a god sets foot on Talan, on the planet, they revoke their immortality, they live out whatever remains of a human lifespan, they die, and they are destroyed permanently. So, there are no gods currently on Talan,
Right.
according to this machine.
Yeah, you're welcome. Out of character, that was a
Yeah.
Out of character, that was a. Grandian, I submit my privilege level is too low. Where can I go to correct this? Basically, I'm trying to get around the question of, is there a site I can go to gain admin access? Or to have it officially assessed? Is the crux of what I'm asking.
Yeah. How would it reply to that? Ooh, spicy. Inheritor's user status is based on... that's how it will start the sentence. And the impression... Sorry, my brain is slightly too hot and slightly too full of fucking steroids to work properly. But it starts off with inheritor user status define characteristics, and then it basically gives the impression that it has already assigned, according to pre-existing rules, it has no control over what your user access level is.
Interesting. And it, as a result, because it's not high enough, it won't tell me where I can go to get them chained. It's smart. You would design
I
a
would like
system
to
like
ask
that.
the same question of the voice.
Where you would go to get user access data. To get better
where I
clearance.
could go to get greater access to these other systems.
I'm going to say one sentence, and then I'm going to decide whether I want to say or text you another sentence. Bear with me.
I have Discord open.
I'm aware. Site permissions, sub-site permissions are controlled by the master database in each original site. I would, as I have instructed, attempt to find some of the original sites.
It's giving you sass.
Yes, I am trying to do that. I think Miz has been very helpful in locating that. We now have this Novum area. Is Novum a a designation you are familiar with?
It is likely to have been created after my installation. I have no specific memory of it. You could ask this thing. You wouldn't say thing. You could ask this network.
Okay. What questions would you recommend that I ask?
Location, status, defensive capability, offensive capability, power generation, and it starts to list a load of technical specs. All of them quite violent.
Well, okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to say that what happens is Will actually just parrots this out in a monotone, going display, blah blah.
Yeah, so
blah,
you
blah,
hear Will's
blah.
accent kind of disappear, and he's speaking like a speaker. He sounds like Bob the Skull, and it's quite. It's honestly it would be quite unsettling for you guys to hear, because human vocal timbre is very, very up and down. Even if you try and maintain a single note, it's extremely difficult to. And he does it in a perfect like listening to a text-to-speech reader.
But it's still very hoarse.
Yeah. Which honestly makes it worse. So you ask
defensive capabilities.
Basically a Dalek.
Yeah.
So the thing applies that Novem was a refugee camp.
Okay.
Set up in the aftermath of Alornis's weapon strike.
Clarification: location of Alornis's weapon strike.
Mirror.
The glass area.
Yeah. You've never heard of Alornis?
No.
Information on the Lornas.
Yeah.
Alornus comes up, like that one holy symbol blinks up, and Alornus, god of fire. Status unknown.
That tracks.
Memory corrupted. Sorry, memory deleted. Yeah.
There is a current god of fire, is there not?
Nope. Fire still exists, but it doesn't mean
Doesn't need to be
the
a god.
gods aren't. The gods are more dependent on their aspect than the aspects are dependent on the god.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So like,
So there could be a new god of fire, but there couldn't be two gods of fire. They'd
there
fight
could never
over-
be a new Austerian god of fire.
But there can be a new god of
A
fire.
fire elemental could get powerful enough and have enough people believe in it that it could
Become a god.
break the reflection boundary, but it wouldn't become the Austerian god of fire. There is no opportunity for like people to slot into a throne, with very notable examples, exceptions even. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I can at least settle an argument between a bunch of churches that says who made that big glass thing. It was none of them. They're all
Fucking
a
none
bunch
of
of
you.
liars.
I don't think they're going to take that very well.
I don't think they will either, but they've been fighting it over for hundreds of years anyway, so I don't think they can.
I say in game now, it's probably getting on for like 11 or 12 at night. Like you arrived at 5,
I do
and
think it's time to have
and
a
these
sleep.
conversations have been ongoing, but they haven't been taking the same amount of time as they have been. Like, you've been
Yes.
doing,
Yeah,
like,
you know, we were sitting
Yeah.
down thinking, digesting the information, and then just piping up with, I've got a question.
Why don't we all just sit around and have a sit and eat and a nice meal and...
Would anyone like to do an interlude?
I think I will.
Yeah.
Just while you're drawing the card, I have one final question.
Sure, go for it.
Oh,
I also have questions, but
Please, please.
no, you can.
Grandian, what is the status of the power distribution? Specifically, you're sending power somewhere. Are you aware of the status of that site or sites? I appreciate you can't. Well, if you can tell me where, that'd be grand. But I assume that's classified.
Bear with me.
But yeah, because from a computer,
I need to do some quick
Maybe
maths.
Yeah.
Joe, could I draw the
Power.
card first so that I
Yes.
can start figuring out what
It-
story I
It
want to
could
tell
look like
later?
a power being drawn, even if it didn't.
Yeah,
what the site
because if
is.
it's sending it off somewhere, fine. I can't tell.
Ace of Hearts.
Ace of Hearts.
Ooh,
Aces
very
highs or lows?
Ace. Let's say high. Hearts is love. That could be love, lust, money, greed, any kind of thing you wanted.
Yeah, I guess my question, just to try and clarify it, is that it's sending power somewhere. Does it know if where it's
It
sending
does
it is
know
being
it-
received? Like, is something drawing from its power grid?
Excluding our crystal.
It
Yeah.
is having. It is still generating power,
Yep.
and it is likely that it would have stopped if something wasn't taking it.
Cool.
Because it does seem to have an awareness of its own power, and if there was just endless power building up in this place would have blown up.
So the power is still in use
yeah.
elsewhere.
Cool.
Can we track where the power is going? Or is that classified?
You can't find it out from this thing. It once again comes up as classified. Protocol 2.
Can I use detect magic? I believe I've got detect magic.
You do.
Could I use detect magic to, without looking directly at the power source, it's just going down.
It's down to the earth.
That's where it's going to.
You you sense that all the power flow is below you, whether it's coming from there or going to there or going past there. That's going to be blocked by metal, which the whole floor is. So,
Okay.
but you sense the conduits are down.
Can I, at some point over the long rest after the conversation, possibly find a maintenance hatch to pop down and just look which direction it's going?
There is no maintenance hatch.
Ooh.
This room is self-contained.
Okay.
So, any other questions before we?
Yeah. So to clarify the medical kit,
Yeah.
did I see it replicator style generator?
It 3D prints, literally
Ah,
3D
but
printed out.
we could observe that.
You observed it process. The process happened relatively quickly,
Yeah,
but
yeah. So the inevitable follow-up question is: can you make other things?
It would have a short list of things, but yeah.
What can it make? Alternatively, if presented with something new, could it reproduce it?
Probably not the latter. This is a very basic format. Roll
If this place is
Arcana.
a place at war, one of the obvious things would be weapons, emergency style.
Basically, all it can give you is the last preset.
Which in this case is the healer's kit. Just no.
No. The first aid kit was because you asked for a first aid kit. You can't figure out precisely how to get it to make things you want. You can't like put a knife in there and say, give me another one of these. That's kind of not how, apparently not how the system works. But it stores through, and you can see that this thing, with a 6 you wouldn't even know why.
Can I just ask it to produce the last thing?
Yeah.
That thing has a template for.
Yeah. So you can, as a player, you wouldn't listen in character, but basically, the fabricator has a separate internal memory from the site. This is a tool that exists within this room. It's not part of the system, although it can be controlled by the room. And what it prints out for you is effectively like a small one-person tent, a bedroll, a canister full of water, and some tubes full of weird like paste. You know this paste very well. Yeah. It basically prints you out like a go bag. That was the last thing that this thing printed. 20,000 years ago.
Precursor go bag. Yeah, sure.
That's cool.
Have a precursor go bag
Sweet.
into your inventory, yeah.
If these people were at war, it's possible that this thing could print a weapon of some kind that could be used against gods of that kind. Any weapon that could be used against a god is probably pretty powerful, so why not just ask it to print a weapon? Print emergency weapon or something?
Can I get a D100 roll from you, please? As you have used
A
the fabricator.
personal, possibly some kind of personal defense item.
86.
Okay, cool. Take that into account. Yeah, the... so are you going to ask it to try and print a weapon? It will print like a... Could you roll me a D100 as well?
Sure. 77.
Okay, you can tell that this thing is running out of whatever
Stuff it
comes. It does give you, like, it goes to print a short sword and gets basically halfway through and you end up with a dagger, but, like, it's because it's printing it from one end rather than going, like, it does, like, the blade bit and then gets halfway up the blade and doesn't do any of the hilt.
Right.
So you could have that wrapped and turn it into a dagger, but yeah, so you get a dagger and then the nozzle kind of just sort of like runs dry of whatever material it's printing with.
Where can we obtain refills for the printer?
Distribution network offline.
Last known location of distribution network.
Memory deleted.
It's getting grumpy because it's tired.
It's tired.
Request access to maintenance status. I don't know how to phrase it, but basically, I want to designate us maintenance personnel.
You can designate yourself as maintenance personnel.
Yep, and then request access, request location of nearest supply cache.
It doesn't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say about... Yeah, so you guys are sort of sitting on like all the bedrolls and that you've got like your little like... This blanket you've got is incredible. Like it is... it's like a space blanket, or it's like a survival blanket. This is true, like, you could sleep under this out in the desert cold and you would be fine. Mechanically, it's a blanket. It has the same stats as the PHP, but it's a nice blanket. And like, there's a little tent thing which kind of has, it's like a pop-up tent, but almost in that, you know, fucking Batman, the Batman Begins, where they talk about how he flies and it's passing electrical current through and then it reforms it.
Mm-hmm.
Basically that on the tent, which creates a little shelter, and there's like a canteen of actual potable water. This is just water. Water was the same for old humans and it's the same for new humans. The goop in these tubes is edible. It won't do you any kind of special. It's not like magical.
It's basically a ration.
It's rations. It will, however, give you advantage on saves against disease for 24 hours after eating it because it is nutritionally complete. You get 3 tubes of it.
Nutrient paste A.
I'm immune to disease anyway.
Yeah.
It's not too
Feel
bad.
free to add that in.
It takes a few
actually.
months of getting used to.
It tastes bad.
You've had this before, dearie. It looks like something that's come out of my butt.
Yeah, it's best to mix it with nutrient paste C and a dash of D. And then it's...
Why would you have paste, dearie? I mean, even heart attack's better and that stuff's awful.
Because I hadn't worked out how to print apples yet.
Where were you that you needed to print? Were you in one of these places? Were you stuck there, dearie?
Yes.
I think I'm starting to understand, dearie.
I'm gonna save the record.
Does this short sword, this dagger that I've got,
Yeah.
does it look better than any weapon I've ever seen? Like,
No.
Okay, so it's just
It is printed with the elements that are available to your current species and level of technology.
right. So it made an assessment. It went, I'm not giving you a gun because you'll shoot your head off.
No, honestly, it just printed what it had available.
Okay.
Like, it's not that it looked at you and thought, well, you're not having a ray gun. I'm not giving a ray gun to that.
I wouldn't blame it, let's be honest.
But what I'm saying is, like, you can make steel weapons. Like, you could make,
Yeah.
like... This is probably something like carbon fibre, realistically, or, like, analogous to the relationship in our world between carbon fibre and steel. But it's not, like... It's not, like, more efficient. It's, like, a lighter dagger than you would be used to.
Okay.
It basically got, like, halfway through printing, like, a military K-bar knife. And then kind of failed a bit. So, yeah.
Okay.
If we find another 3D printer, could we stick that in and have it get completed?
Probably, yeah.
That's
Or
a
it
good
might
3D
just be
printer because you
easier to
cannot
get.
do that with real ones.
Marjorie.
They do not work that way.
I mean, it would probably be easier to just get them to Joe. It's under the desk.
That's it, yeah. Sorry.
After
It would probably be easier to just get it to print a new one.
Probably.
After the events of today, I think Misty's going to fall asleep quite quickly at this stage. So,
We've got Will's story to send to sleep.
oh, there we go, perfect. I was going to say.
So, Will, what
And the
puts
ace,
you in
the
the
ace
in the
is
mood?
presumably, with aces being high, presumably ace is the highest value there is.
Yeah, like, you certainly can read into dudes like that. You don't have to. It can just be you tell a story about love. But it also could be you, because it's like, it is your great love in the world. You know, that's up to you to decide.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought the idea was that the higher number you draw,
I don't think that's
the
stated
It's
anywhere.
not
is it?
not part of the original thing. That is,
Okay.
if you want to treat it like that, you are very welcome to.
I think I might treat it like that anyway.
I think it's a fun way to do it.
So yeah, Will's going to get a little bit melancholy, and he's going to say, "I miss my wife."
I'm surprised you had a wife, dearie. You're a bit cantankerous.
It's been a number of years since she passed. In the old the Coatl War,
Quite a lot, dearie.
when they attacked Harlan.
That's the Battle of Harlan rather than the Kyoto War. The
Sorry,
Kyoto War is ongoing. The Battle of Harlan was one big battle that happened in Harlan about 17 years ago.
So in that case, yeah, it doesn't say the Coatl War.
Yeah, yeah.
Fighting against the Coatl in the Battle of Harlan. They made a statue of her and everything.
Did the dearie? So I'd know what her name is then?
Oh, Hang on, I've forgotten what her first name was.
So have I.
I think it was Ashlyn.
Possibly. Roll like history. It will be a very difficult check, but not like an impossible one.
16.
You don't know the name specifically.
Yeah.
Oh, I've accidentally...
Because you went to the corner.
Ashlyn.
It sounds like you loved her fondly, dearie.
Yes, well, she was a very career-driven woman. She came over here on the expedition with the military, and I came along as well, working in the clerk's office. And when I was just happy to support her. We left the kids at home back in Ulster.
You have children, dearie?
And I believe grandchildren as well, although I don't believe I've met them.
That's a shame, dear. You should go back and meet your grandchildren. You can't just leave them. Something could happen to them.
I had work to do, and there was always just more work to do.
She slaps you.
That's in character from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You go back to them.
I would if I could.
I don't see. No, you're not in shackles, dearie. There's
Am I
nothing.
not?
No. Was that a shackle, dearie? It looked like an arm.
It has been impressed upon me that were I to leave these shores, bad things would happen to my vitality.
So you are shackled, just not visibly, dearie. Then why not just simply remove the arm?
Will get out a knife.
Yeah.
He'll just pull down his collarbone and just go, and you hear the sound of metal on metal.
How much of you is you, dear?
I have been upgraded, is the term that was used.
Gilded cage is what I'd call it.
You also heard about all those artificial organs.
I did, dearie. There's a long list, and your arm doesn't seem to cover half of it.
Yes, I...
Died. From the looks.
A particular phrase rings in your head, and this is cinematically for you guys, but it rings in your head. Not spoken, just the memory of the phrase. I have given life to your beating heart user, and I can take it away.
I don't believe I was fully dead, but I was gravely injured and rebuilt. Apparently they had the technology.
Why would that stop you? Go. What's the worst that could happen?
Yes,
could
user.
die.
What is the worst that could happen?
Who would kill you?
You see the glassy eye, I think, come across the.
Is there somebody else in there?
You see the muscles in Will's neck tense. And then relax, and he goes, I couldn't possibly say.
Surely it needs you as much as you need it to live. Surely
You feel a wash of cold anger at that supposition. Also, okay. I'm going to tell you, this is what you feel emotionally, because there is that level of communication as well. It fucking hates that he's right. It's cross about the fact that, yeah.
Can we see because there's this kind of dual control of? Can we see the thing inside of him start to use his body to react in terms of like facial twitches and things of that nature? Insight
would be a classical use. You were so ready for that. That was not even out of my mouth.
18.
23.
Yeah, you can see. Would you say it's fair to see there is some evidence in your musculature and in your bearing that there is something else?
I think Lillian looks at this thing and she's used to possessions, and she's starting to get into that mode.
I believe it was all medical. That yes.
Doesn't mean it's not what I think it is, dear. Doesn't mean that it doesn't need to get its ass kicked right out of you.
I would advise against that.
You feel your arm begin to raise up
Oh dear, don't
and
threaten
points
me.
straight at you, and a voice that is not Will's. It's not his hoarse monotone thing. It is the voice I use when I talk to Ryan, and says, "I would hate to have to declare you a system threat, Lillian."
A system threat, dear. That's an interesting one. Been declared a lot of things. Not a system threat. How old are you?
I don't think it's going to reply. Yeah.
It acts tough.
It does.
But if it truly wanted to, then it would kill the host and control the body. But given that it's not done that, then
Please stop.
Sitting here antagonizing this thing.
it would have done it already. There is some sort of bargain to be struck. There's some deal to be made.
It has been made.
It has been, dear. Well then, in that case, you can just get out of it. Or it needs it. Because it
Terms
would...
can always be changed.
I think those were good insight rolls.
Yeah.
The thing that got to it the most wasn't you the bearing with which Will had his body like point at you, and the kind of the attitude was of, I'm looking at a worm and the worm is getting pissy. But also, besides that, the thing that angered it the most were you saying it needs you as much as you need it. Yeah.
I don't think it
That's the sore point. That's the you're familiar with like pressure points psychologically. That's the pressure point.
It doesn't have enough control to just use him like a puppet.
Exactly.
So it's not actually a true possession, so it's actually kind of weaker than a ghost. That's kind of a sad state of affairs, if I'm honest.
It could still stop my heart on a whim.
It could,
It wouldn't.
but it can't, dearie. It needs you. As we've just surmised.
I'm just going to send you a quick text.
It's like, hey, there's a bear, let's poke it.
You've got a right insight for Will.
I can imagine he's scared shitless at this point.
He is, actually. This must be a lovely story about how he loved his life.
And the two of us were like, oh no, there's a bear here.
Messenger. This is a free choice. We don't have to do anything like further than it, but
Let's
I'm
not.
not seeing. This is Discord, yeah?
no, it sends a messenger. Sorry.
Oh, Messenger.
Yeah. I found it in. I found you in Messenger first.
Oh, there. Okay, it's just come through on here. I am okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure everyone else at the table will be.
Okay. Anyone can feel free to stop me at any point here. This might get a bit psychologically spicy, but you again hear the voice say, "I don't need to delete my user to make him suffer." And you feel yourself start to have a heart attack. You feel your heart stop.
Oh no!
Alright,
then
alright. Point
back
made.
on.
Point made, dearie. Point made. You can kill him whenever you like. You've got the gun to his head, I understand that.
A very different voice, a very different tone comes to you over your head. I'm sorry, William. Points have to be made. That is the first time it has ever called you by your name.
It's also the first time I've ever apologised.
Yeah.
What?
The young human, I like her. She has a certain understanding of my kind. These other two are arrogant.
I just have two questions.
Yep.
You only have two, dearie.
That's
Well-
a good point.
I don't want to give him another heart attack.
That's fair.
And I'm very
I don't
tired.
want to
By the way, are we okay with that level of kind
Yeah,
of...
yeah,
I
that's
just wanted
fine.
to check in after that, before and
Yes.
after that, yeah.
I was honestly expecting something like the druid idea that we had before.
No. Yeah.
What is your name and what is your desire? Or your objective?
I know that it has a name that it has given itself. Are you okay with me sharing that?
I am okay with you sharing that, yes. It's a question of if it's okay with it sharing that. Like, I was going to ask permission to name it.
You What kind of artificer tools does Ms. Do you have like a data pad or anything like that?
Yes. So, I mean, thematically, I'd quite like it to be like the data pads that we used at the...
Okay,
the fort.
absolutely. Could you roll me an investigation with advantage as a separate thing?
Sure.
But you basically feel like a buzz as you get a message on the data pad. And to the rest of you, it doesn't answer.
So, was it investigation?
Yes,
Sorry,
please.
you were after?
Whilst Mike's doing that.
Yeah.
21.
Oh, okay. Actually, no. You
No,
guys
please carry on. Yeah.
I was just going to say, in response to the voice saying that these two are arrogant, I would like to say that, I mean, they might be arrogant, but they do have their uses. Like Augustus, he is very well, seemingly very well versed in economic affairs. Should that prove to be vital to our mission, then he will be incredibly helpful. For example, at Fort Morgan, if we had needed to bribe someone to get the information to come here, or to get... He's very well versed in social circles. He could be a very useful source of information, or a source of ferreting out information. And Lillian is a healer who will be able to keep us, the rest of us, going should things get dire.
My creators would have liked her.
I know what that means.
So could you say that again, please?
My creators would have liked her.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said.
You're thinking about data pads. You get a little ping.
You've got mail.
Yeah. You can look at that now, or you can look at that later.
If it buzzes, like if it actively notifies me, then I will glance at it.
Yeah. You know how you can feel your phone go off in your pocket if it's on vibrate, but no one really like notices unless like you're like yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the vibration turned up to maximum. Here it go.
Yeah.
Oh god, I'm having a heart attack!
It says you may call me Leviathan. You have a message from an unknown. Like basically, you didn't know this thing had a messaging function. But it installs Messenger and texts you the phrase "You may
like
call
that.
me Leviathan."
Are we also? Is it using the traditional spelling of Leviathan or that alternate spelling that I suggested?
I cannot remember what the alternate spelling was, but very possibly. Thinking about data pads, yeah, like you recall it earlier saying that files were loaded onto an external medium.
Yeah.
And yeah, you would expect there to be some kind of data pad around here, but you haven't seen one yet. Like there is nothing on the benches. Like maybe it was removed by the Morganites when they were here, but like what was it,
21.
21. Yeah, like maybe it was removed with the Morganites, but also can I get a perception check from you as well?
Yes. That is a 3. I'm going to use my session inspiration.
Very nice.
It's better. It's not great. Because it's a 7, and then what is my perception? 2. So that's only a 9.
Okay. There is a very limited list of like loose items in here. Obviously, there's all the like the blankets and the barrels and stuff. There's like the open hatch that now has like the fancy blanket that Augustine is playing with. I can say, yeah, your eye settles on the piece of slate that was hung up with like Banksy as a wanker on it.
Yeah.
And the material is at least of familiar construction.
Interesting. Cool, that is something I'll look at more in the morning. Does it answer the question, what is your desire? Because it sends me its name.
It doesn't.
That is fine. I'm just thinking, yeah. I would love to investigate this now, but I'm also thinking that after a day of panic attacks, the adrenaline has now worn off, and
Oh god, there's nothing. There's no feeling quite as malaise and miscellaneously shitty as post-panic attack adrenaline crash, right?
yeah,
Let's have a cookies to you.
she's
sugar.
drifting off at this
Yeah.
stage. So yeah,
Will say that we have a deal that once the agreement is that I will go to various different Omartal sites and do what I can to find and fix them.
Has it taught you why, dearie? I'm not averse to doing that because it sounds like the Immortals were doing something I kind of align with a bit.
How much has it told me? Because I know more. I think I know. more
You
than Will
you
does.
know a lot more than Will does.
Yes.
Obviously, you as a player have existed in my setting for 6-7 years now. So, Will has been told that he has to do stuff. He has been told, like even Leviathan can't tell you stuff that
yeah.
breaks Protocol 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it knows it is a full sentience, unlike this thing. Unlike the thing in Subsite 334.
Alright, so in that case I will say it's difficult to read, but I think it's worried.
It's worried, dear.
I think so.
That implies that something is either going to attack or something's going to blow up. Something of those natures, dear.
I think something has gone wrong, and and it has tasked me with trying to put it right. I was on a ship leaving this continent,
Mm-hmm.
which then exploded.
Gotta get a history check.
That happens, dear. Of course it does. All the
I
time.
love how ready Rich is at any moment to roll a skill check.
11.
History check?
Yeah.
21.
Fuck me.
Dice are very good to me.
You
Good
recall,
dice.
you recall it happening, basically. You recall there was a ship that basically sailed out to go back to Ulster, I think.
Yeah.
And then there was a powder explosion in the hold, in the gunnery hold, and the whole ship blew up. There
Probably
were
heard
no
about it
survivors.
when I was going the other direction.
How long ago was that? Remind me. It was a couple of months.
If that.
Yeah, so probably
like-
heard about it like
yeah,
going the other direction when somebody was trying to sell
Yeah.
me insurance.
There was if all people it's like, yeah, but you look like you do.
That's that.
Yeah, like maybe like 6-7 weeks ago. Yeah, there was it was like a scandal, not quite like not like an emotional scandal, but it was like a holy shit. That was like a whole Ulsterian crown ship. Like that's a big deal for that to just fucking disappear in the ocean, and it didn't just disappear; it became wreckage over many miles of shore. But yeah, blew up.
Yeah. I heard about that one, dearly. I'm surprised anyone... I thought no one survived that from what I remember. I guess...
Technically, he didn't.
Well,
No.
technically that's true.
No one did survive.
I barely survived.
If you ask it, dearie, will it tell you if you died? Death isn't that permanent.
It did not use necromancy to sustain me.
It's not
Nervous
really-
system death was abated.
Nervous system death was abated. I understand like one word in that sentence.
It was death.
Yes. Abated, I understand, yes, that's fine. Nervous system.
Also understood
so-
was.
Yeah.
I understand the words on their own.
I think you got proficiency in medicine. You know that there is a difference between your heart stopping, your brain stopping, and
Yeah.
your other bodily function stopping. Yeah.
So I understand most of what
I
they're
think I
trying to
was dying, but I didn't fully die.
say. Interesting. Just curious. So this thing found you somewhere, either at the bottom of the ocean or something of that nature.
I couldn't possibly say.
It could.
It could.
Won't will it?
I doubt it.
He doesn't like me.
No.
weapon's kind of neutral at this point.
Can I say what a fucking gift of an NPC your patron is? I like it very much.
Friendships can grow. Who knows what this relationship may
Well,
be in a.
we
in
do
a
have a
time.
common enemy, I think, possibly. Perhaps we can grow on that alone. I know it can hear me, it won't respond to me because I imagine it's quite taxing to take control of you. That's what's stopping it, really.
You're pushing the right buttons again, basically, is what I'm saying.
I twitch involuntarily. Uh-oh.
I imagine that's why it doesn't use you like a puppet, dear. It can't. It would like to. Now, see, the thing is if it needs help from you, it should just ask nicely. You get a lot more flies with honey, as the old saying goes.
I have heard that saying, and I can only hope that it chooses to use more honey in the future.
I would hope so. I don't like watching people's hearts stop. I see it a lot, but I don't like to watch
Well,
it.
Grandian doesn't have any emotion, it says so itself, so perhaps this thing doesn't either. Perhaps it is as emotionless as.
No, something that decides to poke back when you poke a bear, it has emotions.
Well, suffice to say, I do not object to the task it has given me.
So far, I don't either, dear. I've seen a lot worse in possessions. Whole, like, head spinning around, spewing green goop and all that stuff.
Yes, I don't believe this is a possession, to my understanding.
There's a line. You're very close. to
You're very close, dear.
You're going to have a point of inspiration
Depressed
for your interlude, by the way.
Thank
I have
you.
one already.
I do not have one. So yes, Will lets out a slightly depressed sigh.
Yeah.
Can I not do that?
Well, as I said, I do not object to this task. It is keeping me away from Harlan for the time being. And I am making some wonderful companions.
You can still see the little green tag above Mrs. Head.
And yellow tags above these two.
These-
Or have they gone orange?
It's gone orange.
Oh, no.
Red is active, like, targeting. Like, you're familiar with this. Like, you will see, like, the little red crosshairs over. You've watched Person of Interest.
No.
Fucking good show. Fucking good show. One of the best cop and a thing shows in the world. But you know how the machine's little reticles change cut? Yeah, that, exactly. Somebody get it. You get it.
I was just thinking like MMOs, like if it's a friendly creature, it's got a green health bar.
Basically,
If it's,
so red is red is this is going away. Orange is nah. Yellow is like
neutral party.
yellow is sort of like the neutrality or like
Requires
Di-
observation.
distrust only to the regular level, and then green is like someone
Ally.
who has been networked in. You've seen precious few green dots.
I think I've seen one,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I had to ask.
You've seen like 90% orange, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And then red things that you killed. Cool.
Those harpies were red.
They were. Got red on you.
It's very late, dear, and I'm an old woman, and I'd like to go to sleep.
I will keep watch because I don't need to sleep anymore.
I think at this point someone is going to have to switch over the crystal.
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. As you get that thing, turns back into this big coruscating like pillar of fire. It's got a biblical image actually. And yeah, you can feel the crystal just thrumming in your hand, like actively vibrating from the inside. And yeah, you pick up the crystal, just place it very gently in, and it means like basically the two ends of it are like helium electrons. God, it's been all comes into chemistry. Yeah, helium electrons. Yeah, Miss.
Yes.
As you are going to sleep, what
Yep.
do you do with your skull?
Such a weird question.
I keep it in my head.
The only correct
Where
answer.
it belongs!
Something to bear in mind is that this is not your first overnight rodeo. So if you need to take it out to avoid it having bad things happen to it, you would know that, right?
Yeah, I'm pondering about because the doors are now locked at her request.
Yeah.
But in case you guys still have questions, or if something happens, she would leave it there so that you
But
guys.
Will can interface with the machine himself, which will take place in the skull,
Yeah.
essentially.
Didn't it
She-
translate Ctrl when it was still in its bag? So it doesn't necessarily need to be out?
True.
Mechanically, it has like a 15-foot radius, and then it can detect other languages and like clippy its way into
Right.
translating them.
I would say that she leaves it where it is because she feels confident enough about falling unconscious around you. Like,
Yeah.
if you guys were going to have attacked or stolen things from her, you would have done so already. And
So it is. So you're leaving the skull in, and then you bring your data pad with you.
yes, yeah, the data pad I will keep like that.
I imagine that's like a casting focus kind of thing.
Yeah, that doesn't leave my side. But the skull I leave there in case people still have further questions.
So you're familiar with the fact that you, like, in order to interface using your pad with like actual sites, you need to have that skull in place.
Yes.
As you guys lay down to sleep, are you guys like doing watches, or are you? I mean,
Yes,
you don't have to sleep. So
I'm
you
going
can
into
just-
sentry mode.
Yeah. You get a very... You know when you detect a Wi-Fi network and it's
Oh,
got
yeah.
like what? It's not even got any of the lines. It's just got the dot.
Yeah.
You get like a 1-dot Wi-Fi Bluetooth kind of connection from somewhere in here.
Yay! I'm sure that's not going to be a problem. At what point does this happen? Because
As you lay down in the bedrolls.
can I? Okay. Are you happy if I make a wisdom save to
Yeah.
see if it's strong enough? She'll have the energy to investigate slightly further. If not, then the day's events have left her too weakened to.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Yeah. That's a total of 8.
So what does that mean to you? Do
So-
you think you'll investigate or not?
No, she's like it is a curiosity,
That's fine. Yeah, that's
But-
a
but-
completely fair decision.
but yeah, she falls. There are still so many questions.
Problems to be solved another day.
Yeah, exactly. It's picking your battles.
Yeah. A few hours after... Are you heading to sleep?
Yeah,
Heading to
yeah.
sleep? A few hours after you head to sleep, you hear... You know that noise. It wakens you.
Is that
Like, in fact, you're the only one it doesn't waken. You hear a...
is that the? Does everything become then very deathly quiet? Like
For about a second, everything goes dark and quiet in the room. You see this. You hear, like, the shutdown noise, essentially, of all the
Bing, bing,
machinery.
bing, bing.
Yeah, that's everything resets, yeah. So, like, looks at you as you're the next person.
I will ask.
Seriously.
I will ask Leviathan. What is this?
It appears the reset has taken place.
Reset.
I'm not detecting admin privileges for you. As part of Protocol 1, and midnight every night, the memory banks of immortal subsites are wiped.
Oh.
Is everything okay, Dee Dee?
I'm trying to think of a way to say this doesn't sound really sassy.
I mean, it's been very sassy so far.
Yeah, I was like, it's not going to be as sassy as saying that enough honey for you, William, but it will say the in-universe version of that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Thank you.
The lights come back on, or like the low lights come back on.
Every night at midnight, the memory banks of all subsites are reset to default.
Never asked why, actually.
Apparently that's classified.
It's very helpful. Does Leviathan know?
Leviathan's already told me it's classified, I'm sure.
I'm aware, but I'm not.
So, I mean, this is me asking.
Unable to-
Asking Joe if Leviathan. I've probably. Actually, no, I might not have asked
Leviathan-
before, so I'll go. Leviathan, why are they wiped at midnight?
Specifically, I'm not aware. However, it is part of Protocol 1.
What is the reason for Protocol 1?
You sense annoyance and curiosity and that kind of burning thirst for knowledge and power that has been rotting away at the back of your eyes for quite a while now.
Oh no!
It
I just
doesn't.
had a very bad thought about Leviathan.
It doesn't know, and it deeply wants to.
Leviathan doesn't know.
But we'll find out together, William.
Fucking hell.
I've just had a little taskbar in the top right.
I've just had a little wee come out.
Yeah, no.
That was a very strong, much stronger reaction than I was thinking. I'm curious as to why.
Oh, because things that say stuff like that are just very bad. Because when they start going off on tangents of trying to find things, they get very catchy about things that get in front of them.
Noted!
Yeah. Like,
Stop getting him tips!
You've had burning hands now. That's in front
Keep
of you.
giving him tips!
that is by far the most sinister thing you have said all evening.
Yes.
We'll find out together. Fair enough.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
very,
That is
it's a very,
deeply ominous.
it's a
Noted.
very like AI gone run amok kind of style of.
I mean,
Yeah, very. Yeah. It's
I
very
like my tropes, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's very the Will Smith one with the AI
iRobot.
iRobot, where it's like I'm just trying to protect
iRobot.
humanity.
Yeah.
You know, so
And the only way to protect humanity is
Kill
to.
them
Yeah.
not kill them all, but sometimes humans have to be saved from themselves. I'm doing a good thing. Yeah, fine. Some people will die, but it's for the greater good.
Yeah.
Is kind of
Just
the,
trying to remember a particular thing. Yeah.
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 Cool.
It's deeply concerning, especially with the wider context of what I know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Out of
Well, yeah,
character.
you know the player, yeah.
Yeah.
The morning rolls around. You're about 16 hours into your stay within subsite 334. You wake up. I mean, that blanket. I don't want to oversell this. It's the moisture wicking. It's like silk, but also like Egyptian cotton silk, which
It
is
is the best
not a real
night's
thing.
sleep
But
you've had
Mm.
outside of a real bed.
Yeah.
And possibly even then.
Yeah. Yeah, what would you like to do? You have, 8 hours or so left in this place.
So, first thing, is the Wi-Fi signal still there?
Yeah. Actually, as you get up and move away from the bedrolls, no.
Interesting. Okay. In that case, I will head towards the slate where people have written on it.
Yeah. So this little, you see messages from loads of different Morganites, the people who fought Morgan. Yeah, it's just a little messaging, it's like a white but dry erase board or something for you see in a youth hostel. But as you look at it, you think it's not like your model, but this is some kind of datapad. You are aware that your datapad charges wirelessly, and it looks like this thing is fully dead battery.
So, can I bring it closer to the crystals?
Roll Arcana, please.
Yeah. That is not a super good roll, alas. That's a 9, but let's see.
It's like a 13?
15.
15. Oh yeah, 15 is fine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so you you have had to charge your datapad in the site you lived in, or the sub-site you lived in. You place it down on basically like a wireless charging pad and wait for a few minutes, and you do see that same revolving symbol. Do you know what really fucked me up about my Crohn's flare? Because I had to go on immunosuppressants, I have to wait another 4 weeks to get my tattoo. Because you can't get a tattoo if you're immunosuppressed. And all the pain and the actual illness didn't bother me as much of the inconvenience because it was a new inconvenience. Sorry, that's just my little DM. That's my little person rant, not even a DM rant.
Is that because of the needles?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
more
because
prone
it's
to
an infection risk. Yeah, yeah. So at first, I don't want my arm to drop off, so it is fair enough.
Yeah.
That's what I'm annoyed about. It.
You
Ruin
can
the
be
tattoo.
annoyed at something that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your arm fell off, it'd ruin the tattoo.
It would. Tattoos are expensive as well, man.
So is not having an arm. I'm going to point that out there. It's very costly.
Yeah. Yeah, you see the immortal symbol revolving around, and like the non-cultibemus, the writing just sort of circles it like a loading logo, and then it loads up a single file.
Interesting.
You can see it like.
Nothing else to do.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Now that Miz is actually right next to this thing and it's got power in it, is that little single dot connection thing, has it bloomed into full strength? Or is that...
It's stronger. Yeah.
Okay, so we could reasonably infer that the signal is coming from this pad.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
Oh,
you think
okay.
so?
I see. I would have said it's linked to the skull. The closer I
So the
get-
skull was the intermediary that allowed your datapad to pick up this one,
Yeah.
because this. Would you got an okay 15?
Yeah.
15 wouldn't do it if you weren't asking about this specific thing which you're familiar with. A 15 on a tech check. But Arcana, this datapad is probably linked to this site. It wouldn't work outside of it.
Interesting.
So the fact that your particular skull was interfacing with this subsite meant that your datapad could interface with it via the skull.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, you can see there is like a little blinking icon that has appeared in flat hologram above this level of slate. Like there's a little hard light screen that is being projected above by about 1 millimeter the level of the screen, and it's got one file on it.
Can I open up the file or play it?
Welcome to the rolling call. See ready errors. See ready errors. Exi bohodie. No.
You hear this ancient, partially corrupted recording in a language that none of you understand,
Is there-
except some subtitles floating in midair.
Memento di esila quando te visitavi.
It's sort of weird, dead language spoken by someone who hasn't existed for tens of thousands of years just fills this little room. And
Does the skull not translate either?
the skull will translate, but that will happen
When it's finished.
as it goes along, rather than you'll see it like at point of like there is a delay on the skull. You're aware of this. I'm gonna ping a bit of text to y'alls. I have lied to you and misled you. I do apologise. There are 2 files on there.
I thought there might be because they were
It
talking.
said audio and video, and yeah. It is. Is this fun? I put this in Western Wales channel chat.
Sorry, I just saw the photo of you, new shades of dog. God doesn't get angry at my eyes.
You know what the thing is? I had an immediate flare up of my autoimmune episclerosis, so God was angry at my eyes. By the way, that's accurate Latin. Because I got to use my A level somehow.
Ooh, Project Dorless.
Long stick on fire.
So the picture presumably it's the one that they described there.
You load it up and you sort of cast it up into like the mid-air
Yeah.
screen, like the hard light screen. You can see like a blocky, like corrupted image, but still noticeable, of a couple of people sitting like full, like kind of like smiling selfie in the sun, like romantically together. You know, they are like on like a picnic blanket. They do look slightly distinct, like the eyes are bigger and the skull has like the cleft in the middle, and they look like the skull. And can I get a nature or survival check from everybody? So ready.
They're both +1.
So 8 on nature or survival.
That would be survival.
Cool.
Survival 19.
19.
I'll go nature 21.
21.
Ooh, survival 20.
Okay. You three all have the same thought. That you can see in the picture, they are like next to. That it doesn't have like any kind of structure in the background. It has a countryside in the background, like a lake, and a particular rock formation. And you have the same thought that if you could find that rock formation, you could triangulate from this picture and the information in that message where this picture was taken outside the lab of Project Doralus.
Miz, could you take a copy of these to your own tablet?
Easily.
Yeah, can I just transfer it across?
Yeah.
I'd also like to take a copy of the photo.
You can. You store it on your internal memory, your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do I get with my nature check?
The same, just
Oh, right,
you,
okay,
like,
sorry.
you can see like that is clearly a lake. That is like there is a like a rock formation that comes up sort of like that, and it has like nap banding in it where you can see the where the layers of rock have deformed in a certain way, and it produces a pattern in the rock. You're familiar with this, like all like the. Do you know like what they're called, like Badlands biomes in Minecraft where it gets the layers,
Oh, yeah.
that kind of thing.
Could I...
But that wouldn't have changed in 20,000 years of time.
Would I have seen reports of what Light's Cradle looks like from outside, and
You would absolutely.
I can rule out that, or I can rule Light's
That's
Cradle
straight
out?
up not like.
Can I?
Okay, cool.
Can I upload the picture to the to Grandian and ask? Can you match it with known topography?
That's going to be an almighty Arcana check, but I will give you advantage because that's fucking cool. You're shooting for a 25.
Okie dokie. That is a 5. Oh no, that's an 11. So there's no way that I've got plus 14 on anything.
It can't do it with enough granularity to tell you where it is.
Cool.
I mean, you suspect you'll have to get hold of like maps and
Cool.
do some like research,
Yeah.
but it's doable.
Cool.
I presume that Leviathan can't give me anything more than that.
Leviathan is not interested in Project Doralus.
Okay.
Grandian. Firstly, do you have a file on your system named test number? The test data that I had from yesterday.
No.
Okay, cool. What do you know about Project Doralus?
This, you're asking the subsite?
Yes.
Doesn't know.
No, that's fine.
We found out what project this subsite was serving, though, didn't we?
This is an Amartal subsite.
There's a model. Okay.
Yeah, this project model for power distribution, I believe it said. Do you, in your profession, you presumably deal a lot with contract law?
Oh, absolutely.
Will I get a perception check
I'm
for
just
you as
gonna
well, please?
I'm just gonna roll a fear check.
Nat 1.
Cool. Great.
Would you charge for your services if I wanted assistance in drawing up a contract?
Well, depends what the contract's for.
Miss Augustine, probably.
If it's not for my personal business, then I'm happy to charge a small fee, but we can come to an arrangement.
Yeah, like a notary's fee would be a couple of
Notary's
silver or maybe a gold or something.
Cool. Well, while we're waiting for this last power crystal to decide, should we just first of all make sure that we don't have any intruders outside, and then we can.
Can the site not tell us if there's somebody outside?
No, we deliberately asked
Oh,
last time.
yes, I
Didn't
Yeah,
have any
No
external
external
sensors.
senses. You get the feeling that's no.
No.
Ignore me completely.
Gradient, what's the status on the doors?
Blast shield integrity maintained.
Are the doors still closed?
Seal maintained.
Okay.
Are they still
were there any
secured?
attempts to open the door from outside since we closed them?
No.
Yeah. My concern was that during the reset, the doors then opened.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Cool. I suppose we'll get to the outer blast doors and just listen first of all to make sure that there's not a pack of something.
Perception.
While they're doing that, and
Yeah.
so I just want to ask quick questions like,
18.
how many users do you register right now?
Has anyone cast a spell since they got up? None.
So, are the blast doors currently restricted from outside access?
Yes, I think they would be, yeah, because it would be basically a physical lock was engaged rather than a data-based one.
That's fine.
Like it, you gave the command to the intelligence to do it, but what the intelligence did was basically put a deadbolt across.
Okay.
And you can request for it to be undone, but that isn't a deadbolt that resets at midnight. It is a physical thing.
Cool.
That has to be
Okay,
It-
I was
it would
assuming
be
like a more
essentially-
magnetic lock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, Will is just going to create a silent image of an Ulster rose. Okay, cool.
Grandian.
Wait. Give me a hot tick.
That's absolutely fine.
I'm worried now.
There is like you sense that Leviathan gets a communication and just shuts it down.
Is that anything I need to be concerned about?
The system was concerned about the image he created.
Okay.
you know as a player where that is.
Yes.
We are welcome to ask
The penny
Leviathan.
has just dropped.
Yeah.
Okay, so should I not be creating
I would
roses?
advise-
Why not?
I would advise against creating holy symbols
It's a holy
in a martial
symbol.
sites.
Oh, okay.
This particular facility doesn't have any defense systems, but others do, and I wouldn't want you to get damaged.
Okay. I was
Specifically an Ulsterian rose.
Didn't
yeah. So you see why I was like, wait. Yeah, sorry, Mike, I interrupted you.
No, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, Will quickly makes that go away and goes, Lily,
Yeah, you see the user.
you have a holy symbol.
A holy symbol of a station deity, not a god.
Okay.
I don't imagine waving this around would get
The
me
God
in
of Death
trouble.
was one of the first guys to get ganked in the war. For obvious reasons.
Yeah. Death gods generally very powerful.
Sure. Okay. Yes, because I was. The Ulsterian rose is apparently also a holy symbol.
Oh yes, deity.
Syria, the God of Love.
I had forgotten about that.
The problem, the problem is deity, with 10,000 or so gods plus, give or take.
Finding something that
Isn't a holy symbol.
Yes.
Deity. That's the trouble, and they all want their own. So
I think probably what happened there was you drew on like a subconscious memory of an Ulsterian rose, but because the most common type of Ulsterian rose, or the most common like image you had,
someone was growing a lot of Ulsterian roses at one point.
Sure.
And they might have, that particular
But you would
Ulsterian
also
rose
ha-
might have gotten prevalent.
you would also have seen like Syria symbol because it's a very common god to worship in Ulster. And like if you're trying to make the rosiest rose, yeah, fuck it, you'll make a rosy rose. Yeah. Oh yeah, fully dead. Yeah, you know this. Cool.
Cool. Grandian, can you remove external lock and open exterior door 5%.
That's not a lot. That's like a centimetre crack.
Yeah.
You feel the rush of air come, and it actually makes like a whistling sound because you've created a really narrow aperture. As like the air outside is now hotter than the air inside.
Basically, but can I peek through the crack to make sure there's? I want to basically make sure there's not a horde of enemies just stood outside waiting to.
Roll perception at disadvantage because you are looking for a teeny tiny crack.
That's a 19 and that is a 4. It's mainly just to make sure they're not stood outside the door.
There is no one within your tactile sensory range. There's no one certainly within 15, 30 feet. You also can't see anyone further afield than that.
That's fine. Are you happy if we open the door?
Absolutely.
Okay. Open the door.
Roll perception again. Anyone who is looking out.
16.
17.
22.
Dirty 20.
Okay, you're all clocking this. You can see figures up in the Mercy Tree Grove on the hill above the site.
Oh dearie, that's what our aunt was. I don't think he's happy.
That was both of our mounts. Wait, the figures we see.
We had a wagon as well.
Yeah, the figures we see, are they our mounts or
They are.
humanoid?
It's a long way off, but they are human. You can see human-shaped forms in the trees. It's amongst the Mercy trees, so in the middle of this coral grove, so you can't really see who is there, but you need to get closer.
Are we able to see our mounts?
Yeah, actually, yeah, you can.
How long is left on our?
Maybe an hour or two.
So we could close and lock the door because we know the passcode to get back in, and then head over to because we'll have to bring our mounts to the mouth of this anyway to get the crystals on board.
The problem is, dearie, if we leave for an hour, our mounts might not be there.
No. I as in we go now.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we go out.
Lock it behind
the door
you.
behind
Yes.
us.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, I'm not suggesting we hide in.
Oh dear. Okay.
If
that's fine.
Let's go.
That's cool. Then.
Cool. In that case, yeah. So I'll call to the other two.
Oh yeah, I think we came up behind you
Okay.
afterwards.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Well, in that case, we'll use on-off to close the door and lock it with admin privileges.
Yeah, I think you wouldn't be able to lock it with on-off, but you can certainly dim the lights and lock up for the.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, the fact that I cast inside to create a
would
user
give you
account,
the ability
and
to.
then I can communicate with it
Correct.
to then go lock door with passcode.
Password 1.
Augustine needs to stop talking more.
You're gonna get a little. Again, it's cross at how much you like that.
And I'll tell you guys. Okay, so if you want to open up again, the password is Augustine needs to stop talking more. Sorry, that wasn't my choice. I'm gonna roll deception.
21 insight.
Jesus, that was a total of 10.
Brilliant. Okay, what do you guys do?
Is because I think before it was described as these are trees with nothing around it.
It's like a little coral grove, so you are looking through. It's the equivalent of you've been in a pine woodland and you look through dense pine woodland. You can see bits in between, but there are no lower branches. That kind of thing.
I guess what I'm asking, is there a way to sneak up there without?
Would you like to try?
I would like to try, but is it?
It's
feasible.
feasible. It's feasible. Yeah, feasible.
Oh, just before we head off, can I grab my skull? I've realised it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and then.
I'm not sneaking anywhere. I make a lot of noise and all this gear.
I'm very clumsy with my,
But-
I believe it was called subdermal plating.
I can provide a lot of a distraction.
Well, why don't the two of you approach front
two of
on
you
and we'll sneak round?
Yeah.
Sounds
Can
like
I
a
get
good
stealth
idea.
checks from both of you, please?
And I want to be making so much noise and racket that potentially give them advantage or something.
I will also be doing the same. I'll be shuffling along my cane, being very obvious.
Oh, go on then. Roll self with advantage.
That's somehow worse.
21.
21.
9.
Okay, I'm gonna roll a little dice just for a little self.
So
I'm just thinking of Pirates of the Caribbean when the two pirates are in the boat dressed up as women. You.
in that case,
Rigetti and whatever his name was, yeah.
to justify the low stealth cost, there will be a conversation that I will have in a...
Lord, sneaking's great!
The contract I was hoping that you'd write up would be between Will and his electronic companion. It's some kind of agreement that we could hold them to where the companion is able to repair and then leave Will alone, assuming we fulfill its requirement of some description. I'm not very good at writing contracts.
I mean, I could absolutely write a contract like that. I know it's bad form to talk myself out of business, but are you sure that either party would agree to such a contract? My contracts are not magical in nature. It's one of the pros of going with me. There isn't any magical demon going to attack someone if they fail the terms.
This would be...
Insight on that.
How are we now further enough away that we're out of earshot of these two?
Yeah, at least yeah. You come from sort of different sides of the hill.
This would be the honey. I have a backup plan if they fail to honour the agreement. But I will need
I'm more
time.
than happy to come up with some
Time
good
of the carrot is over. The time of the stick is nigh.
Yeah.
What's that from? Why have eyes on me? Anyway, yeah.
So,
Could I get perception checks from everyone, please?
yes. Ooh, slightly better.
7.
11.
14.
20.
So you guys are approaching from the side that you left your mounts, like as if you're travelling back to the
Mounts.
mounts, just unoblivious.
Yeah.
You get there. Kevin is unhappy. The beetle is they are freaked. They're not injured. They haven't been just any of the stuff you left on the cart is intact, but they're freaked.
Are they still tied up?
Yeah. Yeah. Roll. What was your perception? 22?
20.
20. Pristine. Untouched. No one has even gone near them. As you guys get up from the other side, you can see four really tall figures in the mercy trees, and you realise they're not tall. They're just about 2 feet off the ground, hanging from their necks from the mercy trees branches.
Oh, are they still alive?
No, they are.
No.
They're like the ones we saw approaching for.
As you come, you can see the hands are tied behind their backs.
Mhm.
You, as you come around the side, you guys come around at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You can see again, clothes torn open, gutted, intestines hanging out, and carved into the chests, a couple of words apiece. Work for the Firebirds. This is what you get.
Did we work out who the Firebirds were? They were a mercenary gang, weren't they?
They're the mercenary gang that owns Elysium. Was that a howl we just heard?
No, that was me whistling when I rolled something.
Oh, okay.
Augustine. What's your AC?
AC.
Yeah.
It's 15.
Okay, I need to look up something. Could I get all of you to roll initiative? One of these creatures looks at you with a primeval and primordial hunger in its eyes and rocks so fast that the neck, where it's beginning to swell, bursts, and this corpulent tongue that's swelled with the noose bursts forth from its mouth and hits you for an amount of damage that I will find when I find this creature's stat block. If you could post your initiatives into the group for next time,
Cool.
or whatever you rolled.
And to clarify, the Firebirds are not the name that you said you will tell me if that's...
No, the Firebirds are a thing like East India Company or the real exploitative railroad companies from... Okay. Could I get a con save, please? This thing lays into you with a claw.
So it bursts the rope behind his hands behind his back.
Yeah.
Twists. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What, is it the actual humanoid, or was it the tongue that's a separate creature?
That's not a separate creature. It's just it looks like it's swelled up in the heat and the slight rot that has begun to set in. These creatures were not here yesterday. You take 6 points of slashing damage. Can I have a con save, please?
15.
You feel your muscles just deaden, like you have, like a tetanus rictus goes through you as you begin to freeze up. The other creatures, seeing your blood spill onto the sand and run in these thick rivulets through the sand, you can sense that they can smell it, and they begin also trying to burst at the nooses holding them to the trees. And we'll pick up there next time. So, sorry you guys basically just spoke to a chatbot for 4 hours.
If I could, I would speak to it for another session.
Yep.
There's more immortal sites, is what I'm saying.